every morning when I wake up.
Only on 106.1 KISS FM.
Blake and Aaron in the morning.
It's Aaron's Celebrity Rundown on 106.1 KISS FM.
All right. Good morning, Sandy. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Aaron. How you doing?
Oh, fantastic. Just a little cold from the kids, which is great. I don't know, how the kids always get you sick. Great.
Oh, my goodness. Crazy.
Yeah, anyway,
all right. So let's jump quickly into it. We've got the Carifta champs returning yesterday afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
The first assumers came in at 2 p.m. on a flight. And shortly thereafter, they came in under Cayman Airways charter. Shortly thereafter, at 4 p.m., the track and field team returned from the Bahamas via British Airways. So congratulations to everyone. Some young people did phenomenal in terms of their overall performance. We had Ciara, her last name escapes me right now, but she had the most medal count actually for the Cayman Islands. Super proud of her. And, everyone is just happy. She's a swimmer, by the way. Everyone's really happy with her performance. And of course, track and field did extremely well. I think everybody did well. Ciara, let me get it for you. Broad belt. There we go. She was top overall female swimmer in the 13 to 14-year-old category. And she was actually an overall high point winner for the entire Carifta. Total of 11 Carifta medals, 8 gold, 1 bronze. And then in the relays, she did 1 silver and 1 bronze. So congratulations to her and all of the amazing athletes who attended the Carifta Games and performed so incredibly well.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So today we'll continue our discussion on Carifta. This one's a gift that's going to give us a couple days worth of content. So we will continue that. And the Department of Environmental Health, my apologies, has introduced a new form for tourist establishments. So if you run like a bed and breakfast or maybe an Airbnb, you want to pay attention to this because there is a new form for inspection of tourism establishments, including, looking at things like the respective swimming pools to ensure that they meet the recommendation for licensing by the Department of Tourism. So this is now going to help improve the planning of inspections and assessments of tourist establishments. So check it out. It's on our website. The form is right there. And just make sure that you're compliant.
Yep. You gotta get that checked off before you can rent out, right?
Absolutely.
Cool. All right. Well, Sandy's gonna be on. Actually, you're on Bobo right now. So
That's
catch
right.
Sandy's show right now. And
you're live and direct.
All right.
Thanks, Aaron.
Everybody. Yeah, thanks to you. And I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Have a good one.
You too. Bye. All right.
Bigger, better, bolder. The cold, hard truth is taking talk to the next level. Right here on Bobo 89.1 FM, Cayman's Community Radio. We are still spilling the tea and committed to being part of the change that Cayman so desperately needs. Join Sandy Hill weekdays from 7:30 a.m. for Premier Access, Cayman Voices, Truthful Thursdays, and much more. Cayman's #1 talk show is now bigger, better, bolder, and more than talk. Getting results with hot topics, consumer reports, court exposés, and more.
I've come to set the record straight. I've come to shine the light on you. Let me introduce myself. I am the cold, hard truth.
Now, from the CMR studio in Grand Cayman, live, direct, it's the cold, hard truth. Now, join the conversation on 345-936-2626.
That number again is
345-936-2626.
All right. Good morning, beautiful people. How are you guys doing today? I'm sitting down. Yes, I am, honey chill. Y'all know that most mornings I do not sit down. Oh my gosh, my camera angle is like totally weird this morning. Normally you guys don't see my other monitor because I have it pushed back Did some renovations over the weekend in the office. And so things do look a little bit different. Let me push that back because, Chad, I'll be having my secret notes over there on that screen. You can't be looking at those secret notes. Yes, honey, Chad. Let me look again. Yeah, that's a little bit. It's because I'm sitting down and I think my camera actually got moved. Hold on. Oh, God, I've touched it. Now it's like, what the heck? All right, hold on. I'm supposed to be getting a new camera set up as well. But I gotta tell you the truth. There we go. Is that any better? Yeah, that's looking pretty good. There we go. Yeah, so I always have this. Oh Lord, what have I done? I've touched it. All right, don't worry. We're gonna get to it here in a second. Something new is coming with my equipment. So anyway, let me see if I can sort this out so y'all can see me. Yes. So that's stuff that you see this picture's on the camera and it keeps popping up. Exquisite edibles. There we go. How's that? I think that's pretty good. Yeah, not too shabby. Yeah, it's different when I sit versus when I stand. So I have to adjust things a little bit, but I need a more comfortable chair. This chair is just my regular bar stool, and it's actually not that comfortable. And the only reason I use it is because some mornings I do have to sit, getting kind of achy in the feet mostly. The rest of the body is not too shabby. Still working on my 50 by 50. I feel like I'm getting slimmer, but the pounds, I don't think the scale has actually moved, but I do feel like people who look at me definitely say, oh, you look like you've lost weight. Like, I think I've lost inches, but not weight, which I don't even know how that's possible. But like the maybe it's just bloating or something. I don't know. It's going down, but I need to lose pounds. The scale does matter. Size matters. So I'm going to keep working at it. I loved how that gentleman called in yesterday talking about his weight, because most men don't want to admit, that they put on a few pounds and whatever. They're kind of shy about that kind of stuff. I'm like, why be shy about it? So we got a full show for you this morning. Karifta, gift that keeps on giving. I'm going to really dig deep into this because I think there's a number of things. It's critical that you guys understand certain things. I know you have to understand kind of my brain maybe and how it works and my methodology. So I'm going to explain to you guys after I utilize my good Cayman manners. I say good morning to Miss Verdita. I say good morning to Diamond Princess. Brother Tommy's in the house. Gina is here, the beautiful Gina. Hello, cousin. Olivia's here. Miss Morna is here. Caribbean Boy TV, listening from the Philippines. He says, good morning, Sandy, and congratulations to all of the Cayman athletes who completed in Karifta. Yes, they did very, very well. I'm so proud of them. Wee, good morning to you. Good morning to Susan. First Lady Jayanne and the baby. What's the baby's name, by the way? We got to call the baby by his name, honey chill. She says, good morning to you all. Have a blessed day. God bless you, Miss Sandy. Keep doing the good work you're doing. Thank you very much. Marshall is in the house. Sonia is here, wishing everybody a productive day. Miss Stephanie is here. Good morning to the beautiful Stephanie Brooks. Robert is in the house. A.R. Ramoon, I've not seen you in a minute, young man. How have you been? First Lady says, I'm looking beautiful. Oh, thank you. Muscle weighs more than fat, says X Factor Fitness. I know we like to say that, but I still got lots of fat. That body percentage fat, I know for sure is way too high, but we're working on it one day at a time. Lord Jesus. We're getting there. Stephen Nicholson from the UK, front and center, he says. He's front of the classroom, got his notepad ready. Lavana, good morning. And we've got Jean Ebanks also here. Look at your beautiful picture. Is that a wedding photo? So nice. Good morning to you, Jean. All right, so we are here for it, folks. Atlas says he's going to soon change his name back. Yeah, put your real name back. AR is just like, I don't know. Put Atlas back. Tracy's here, joining us from New Zealand. She says, got to try stay awake. Wasn't Jerry Harper a coach when I was there in school? Yeah, I think Coach Harper is pretty well known. Miss Darlene is also here in the house. So I got a little bit of sun kiss this weekend. In case y'all don't notice, I'm a little bit tanner than usual. It's not foundation. It's just a good tan. You know, the sun isn't really your friend, but occasionally you need you need a little bit of sun because that vitamin D is actually very, very good for you in limited quantities. But you should put on sunscreen, which I didn't. But right away I could see, especially where my glasses are, like I could see my little suntan line right there. But we went to Stingray City. I'm going to tell you guys about that later on. We had a fabulous weekend, and I was treated like royalty by a friend who I did a little bit of a staycation at a luxury resort. So I'm going to tell you guys all about that a bit later on. But this is the really important stuff. First of all, oh, hey, Eddie. I didn't realize that was you. Good to see you. Eddie Powell, he's now permanently residing in the Philippines with his wife and family and in-laws. So good for you, Eddie. And Eddie's been busy losing weight and staying fit. I see you, Eddie, cycling and enjoying his good retired life. And I reckon that that's what it's all about. So big shout out to the folks over at Burger King. Today is Wednesday, yes? Whenever you have a holiday, the days get a little bit mixed up. There we are, the clean Whopper. Somebody said to me, this is actually a beef Whopper, but it just has no artificial flavors, colors, preservatives, and so it still is beef. They have a veggie, they have the Impossible Burger as well, which is vegetarian. So you've got some options, folks, to be healthier. They also have salad options like chicken salad and stuff like that. Yes, but anywho, you know, we got a lot to talk about this morning, so let's just jump right in. Let me see if I can pull down my mic just a tad. So the first thing I want to do is I do want to extend my condolences to Kevin Watler. I mentioned it briefly at the end of yesterday's program, but of course, you guys know that Kevin works with us here on CMR. He's very, very instrumental a lot of times in getting us guests on the program. And he does the Daily Buzz as well. And he's just a team player. You know, he's always giving ideas and feedback and so on. So we really appreciate Kevin. And it was with great sadness that he messaged us on Sunday to say that he was having to make an emergency trip home because his grandmother had passed into the early mornings of Sunday morning, Easter. So my goodness, such a sad situation. So I do want to give my condolences to the entire family. She was the matriarch of the family. You know, here she is. There she is, my Tweedum. I've actually met her. And it was just a very, very pleasant lady, 85 years old, I believe. And, you know, she was in good health by all appearances. It just looks like she had a blockage, a coronary event. And by the time, you know, they took her to Health City, to HSA first, and then they're like, oh yeah, you know, let's revive her a couple times. And oh no, blockage, let's get her Health City. It was already too late. I feel like if they'd gotten her to Health City first, probably would have been A-okay. But I guess when it's your time, maybe it's just your time. I don't know. I don't have the answer to these things. I just often wonder about them. So poor Granny has passed on. And so we wish to extend our condolences to the entire family. This is Miss Natasha Veronica Russell, passed away on Sunday, April the 9th. And a Thanksgiving service will be held at the Church of God Chapel on Walker's Road on Sunday, April the 16th at 3 p.m. Viewing is from 2 to 3. Condolences can be registered at Churchill's Funeral Home. So please feel free to register your condolences there as well. So beautiful lady. Condolences to the entire family. All right. We'll have a couple additional community announcements and stuff a bit later on. So please continue to listen to the program. Miss Alba, buenos dias. ¿Cómo estás? Estoy muy bien, gracias. I've been working on some stuff. You know, my daughter is now in like school. She's always been in school for like 8 months, but she takes Spanish class. And so I need to start kind of like, I wasn't ever 100% fluent, but I was very close. I was on the cusp of being fluent. And I feel like had I just been in an immersion, program, or if I just lived in a Spanish country, I would have become extremely fluent very, very quickly because I had a good command of the vocabulary and so on. But I really want her to be, if possible, fluent. And so, sometimes I'm now like saying certain words to her in Spanish so that she can hear the word and learn the words outside of the classroom environment. So working on that. Strong Will says, big up to Cayman and Jamaican athletes. Jamaica always does extremely well at these track and field events in particular. There was some controversy with Jamaica as well, though, where somebody got disqualified. I think it was one of the relays or something. There was some disqualification for like 2 of the events on the Jamaica side. But yeah, Jamaica obviously had the biggest medal count at Carifta. What can we say except that Jamaica produces really top-notch athletes. And there's probably a number of different reasons for that. Obviously, they have a much larger population to pull from. But to not take anything away from their athletes and their coaches, they have really good coaches and they have athletes who are really just committed to the task at hand. They're committed to it on a professional level. And so we're going to talk about some of that here this morning as well. Shania, good morning to you. Thank you, Gina. I'm sure that Kevin appreciates the condolences. Miss Bonnie joining us from East End. Shania, that's supposed to be coming. Well, I mean, the previous minister said it was coming. I think we probably can ask about an update on those types of things. I don't know who Cynico now falls under, because that was former Deputy Premier and Minister Chris Saunders. I don't know who would have gotten that portion of his portfolio. I'll have to inquire, because it's supposed to be coming, but I guess we need to get some more details on that now. Cece says, it took them years to refer me to Health City, and that's the best thing they did. Trust me, because imagine treating someone for something they never had. Big up Dr. Moving. Who's Dr. Moving? Somebody's name is Dr. Moving? Cece says, Cynico needs an entire revamp. They are disgusting. Oh, Lord Jesus. Let's leave Cynico alone for a minute. And let's talk about who's really disgusting this morning. And that's this whole Cydonie Mothersill. And I want to be very, very careful here and not put the entire executive in the bunch. Although at this point, I kind of feel like, just like I did with Miss Cayman, you do a clean sweep. Everybody resigns and you reconstitute the executive, because sometimes you're guilty by association and you're guilty by sitting back and doing nothing. That's a problem. That is a problem. Soka says it's had to go to videos to find the cold hard truth. It's not in the CMR timeline. Child, I can't explain Facebook to you, Soka. Yesterday, I saw our numbers. We had close to 600 people at one point. And then all of a sudden, I saw the Facebook numbers drop down to like 27 people. And there was no logical reason for it. Facebook is just strange. I do see us online. Let me see if I can pin it to the top. Hold on. Pin post. Let me do that. So it's up at the top right now. Oh, it says I can only pin 6 at a time. I think what happened is the buzz seems to have come, although that was supposed to be done at 6 o'clock. That seemed to have come right after. Hold on, give me 1 second, Soka. I'm going to pin this to the top. It seemed to have come right after, or almost the same time, really, as the show, but it must have come right after right before, because it's actually showing up first. So, all right, let me pin it now. So it'll be up at the top. There we go. All right. Yeah, Facebook. I don't know. There are people who are Facebook experts who get confused by Facebook, if that helps. Nothing on that yet, KK, but I did drive by there this weekend. I saw them. We'll try to get some further updates. All right, so let's talk about this. Yes, Miss Darlene says get the rooms ready, and I absolutely agree. We need to. Strong Will, good morning. Saying whatever happened to Bernie Bush? He needs to come on the show. He's so useless. Well, hallelujah, hallelujah. All right. I need to break this down. So yesterday, Lacee was on the show. If you missed it, by all means, please go back and watch the program. You can watch it on YouTube, Facebook. It's there. I think we should start just uploading them on Instagram as well. But anywho, we try to do like shorter clips on Instagram. So listen, Lacee wanted to just explain what had happened and to tell her story. I purposely did not want to dig too deep in some of the real issues with this association while Lacee was on the program, because her situation is very, very specific. This is what happened to her. Her and the husband, or her really, was escorted out of, the pit or whatever the area is called with the athletes. 99.9% of the people see that as extremely egregious and shocking and disappointing, unprofessional, like every word that you can think of that is a negative connotation or just a negative word in general has been used to describe what 3 executive members did. But as Denny rightfully says, the correct word for everybody else is that it was an act of omission. So if you sit back and you allow other people, right? So you are on boards, you're on committees, you're on executives, whatever you want to call them. If you sit back, stratas, if you sit back and allow other people to get away with egregious behavior and you do nothing, you are just as guilty as the people who are the forerunners of the egregious behavior, in my opinion. Because you have an obligation, both legally, you need to read y'all constitution, and otherwise to do something about it. And so what I find, and I don't want to use too broad of a brush really to talk about, this situation, but what I find a lot of times is happening is you have 1 or 2 people running the show, and everybody else is just sitting there allowing them to do whatever they want. And that's horrific. You shouldn't be there. If you're just a yes person, do not sit on these committees or these executives or any of this stuff, because you're going to find yourself being tainted at the very minimum by, poor behavior. Because a lot of these persons are just rogue individuals. They are there for ulterior motives, which you may or may not be aware of. So even when they come to you trying to recruit you to be part of a situation and be part of these boards or whatever, run to the hills. You do not want to get involved in these situations. You got to be a person who's willing to speak up for the right things in life. And if that's not you, then please take a seat all the way in the back of the classroom, because not everybody has it. And I don't expect it from everybody. Not everybody has that personality. Not everybody can be the voice of other people. That's fine. I'm not saying that you have to do it. Although y'all know the saying about they came for the Jews and I did nothing. One day they're going to come for you. So you should find your inner voice, but not everybody can do it. That's why I get so many phone calls every day, because not everybody can do it. The vast majority of you are happy for other people to put their necks on the chopping block and speak up while you kind of sit back and reap the benefits of that. Okay. But if that's not who you are, don't join the likes of a Miss Cayman committee. Don't join the likes of the Cayman Athletics Association. They're now changed their name. They're no longer CIAA, right? Caymans, they're now just the Cayman Athletic Association. Don't join these organizations unless you are willing and able to do the right thing. Now, what Cydonie did ruffled enough feathers where at least 1 member has resigned. And he did it pretty quickly. Let me read to you what this 1 member said. Now, the thing is, nobody wants to get involved. This is my Achilles heel with Caymanians, right? Even the ones that want to do the right thing and they know that something has been done here that is very, very wrong. When it really comes to lending their voice to it, they're like, oh, I want to remain neutral. Okay. You want to be Switzerland. All right. Well, I'm not Switzerland. My name is Sandy, for the record. Sandra Teresa Hill. No H in the Teresa. And I will not remain silent on wrongdoings in this community. I'm going to take a stand. Yeah. I don't care who it offends. I don't care who don't like it. Your mama don't like it. Your papa don't like it. Your grandpappy don't like it. Ask me if I care. I do not care. Because the one thing I know in life, folks, is one day you will need someone like me to stand up for you and to speak up for you. You might not think so. Oh, I've seen people. Oh, no, I'm a rich person. I've got resources. I've got this. I've got that. And listen, like I said, the people that blew up my phone on a regular basis, can you please bring up this issue? I'm having to deal with this. Can you do that? It is what it is. So I'm not here on this platform to make friends. Yes, I am simply here to speak the truth and to try through that process of putting information in the public domain, researching, digging, because y'all know I'm like a secret detective, honey child. The RCIPS should really try to hire me because I'll be digging and getting to the facts. So yesterday I was still digging, and I'm still digging because I ain't done yet. Yeah. Y'all need to understand the bigger picture here because, in fact, there is a bigger picture. Okay? And if you don't understand the bigger picture, none of this really makes any sense. We're all sitting here going, why would Cydonie Mothersill have an issue with little Lacee Barnes? Right? And there are logical answers as to the why. So today, we're going to dissect the why. Yesterday was about Lacee and her being able to tell her story. And I wanted you guys to listen. I touched a little bit on the why at the onset, but I didn't want to go too deep into it because I want to really separate Lacee from everything else that I know about this association and that I know about some of the members of this association and how they have been running a rogue organization for a very long time, and it needs to stop. Right? So understand me clearly. The same passion that I had for the Miss Cayman committee, I have for this committee and any other committee that is operating under rogue principles, who have no respect for the rule of law, have no respect for their organizational constitutions, which they all have. So I do not care if it's the Music Association, if it's the Miss Cayman Committee, if it's the Cayman Athletic Association Committee, or whatever they call themselves these days. It doesn't matter to me. It's not about who is there so much as what it is that they're doing. And that will be exposed as much as possible. And we are going to do some digging and some exposing here today. That's the only way you, the people, will actually have a sense of what is truly going on. So, if you don't like my passion, well, you can take it somewhere else. Because Sandy did her research and Sandy got her notes, so I don't forget much of anything yet this morning. We're going to go through it. Let's start with Cydonie Mothersill, because we got a lot of time for her, honey chill. Because she is although she's only the secretary, now y'all thinking, well, she's not the president. She is the controlling whip. She's the person, she's the tail that is wagging the dog and shouldn't be allowed to. Yes? But this is precisely what happens in these organizations. So probably their constitution does not allow her to be president forever. And so, yes, she's secretary. But even in this position of being secretary, she seems to be accomplishing a lot of chaos. This Lacee situation is but one example of the chaos that this woman has been involved in. And we're going to dig into what else she has been doing, because she has been at it for quite a minute. Now, You know, the committee went on Radio Cayman. Two of the committee members, Delroy and who else, went on the on Radio Cayman last night. Somebody sent me a screenshot. They had 15 people watching them. And, I don't know how many on radio because we can't really monitor radio listeners per se. Osbert, who's Osbert? What is Osbert's last name? Osbert and Delroy Murray were on the program. Who's Mr. Osbert? Osbert who? Well, whoever Osbert is, these fools are going to take the fall for Cydonie Mothersill because they look like they not got no backbone and they don't have any sense. Or what is most likely happening is there's so many bones in the closet and so many kisses go by favors of a situation in that association is that they're going to hold rank with her. Right? Miss Renee says association after association, Sandy, call everything out. Well, honey child, let me tell you something. Even the netball people messaging me yesterday saying, please talk about the netball association as well. And I'm just like, oh my God, really? All of y'all in this hot mess? Okay. Netball, I guess we'll be coming for you next. We need to find out exactly what's going on. There's too much in the world of politics. Michael says Cydonie needs to be begone. There's too much in the world of politics, folks, that is being intertwined in these organizations, and it should not be that way. Because ultimately, you know who suffers? Shania says crabs in a bucket. You know who suffers? The athletes. They're always the ones who suffer. Isn't that a shame? Our young people. We should be rallying around them and building institutions, organizations that they can all be proud of. But because of individuals and their, chaotic lives and hot messes of a situation, they can't see the forest for the trees. And they sacrifice our young people for their own personal agendas. So let's start with Cydonie Mothersill. First of all, allow me to show you the resignation letter. This person sent me at about 2:15 on Monday as the situation began to unfold. They sent the following. And I think that this is interesting. It says, good afternoon, Miss Sandra. Hope all is well. I wanted to reach out to you in regards to the mistreatment of Lacee and Adrian, her husband, at Clifton. I am and was one of the listed members of the executive in your article. I have formally resigned from my position as ordinary member, as I do not agree with what took place and the manner and how it happened. I do not want to be associated with it. For the record, not all members knew what was taking place until Lacee did her live last night. The 3 or 4 members that are still here in Cayman were clueless to this going down at all. I'm the only member of the executive that runs a track club, and I'm in constant battle over the athletes and fair play. I've ruffled more feathers than I can count over the last few years. I cannot be put in the same hourglass as the others when I am fighting so hard to make a difference for these athletes/kids. It is a shame that things have had to come to this and that our current and former athletes have to deal with this type of treatment. I just want the record to be clear that not all members are of the same cluster. There are some of us that are trying to make a difference, but little with all things here in Cayman. But like with all things here in Cayman, the politics and tricks run deep. Ooh, do they ever? That's what we're going to be digging up today. I'm sure you have tons of questions and I'm willing to answer, but I can to help with some clarity, but that would be more one-on-one. I'm not an out in the public person. I prefer my quiet little world. Have a good rest of your Easter Monday. Poor you, honey child. Little did you know, if you wanted a quiet little world, you would not have associated yourself with this association. Quiet little is not something that they seem to be doing particularly well. Well, I tell you what, it's a hot mess. All right. Why is Cydonie acting like a big, oversized, overage bully who is a mother? And quite frankly, I'm pretty sure she's old enough to be Lacee's mom. That's how old she is. She's up in age. And I only say that for lack of, she should be the more mature individual. I had people saying, oh, well, yeah, Lacee was done wrong, but she shouldn't have responded with her live stream. I'm like, hold on a second. Have any of you ever been arrested? Raise your hands. I can raise my hands. I can get that accolade. If there was a medal for being arrested, I'd have a whole chest full of them, really. It is quite an embarrassing situation. And I don't want to say that you get used to it, but the first time somebody approaches you with like guns and stuff, now I've never been arrested with guns. Let me be very, very clear. I don't even know how I would respond to a situation like that. But I've had 8, 9 detectives come to arrest me before. And the judge, when he threw that case out, was like, when he found it was an unlawful arrest, he said, what warranted this type of force? When people are trying to send you a message, right? They do so in a particular way. And so by sending 8 detectives to come and arrest me, which was overkill by all accounts, former Judge Henderson said it right. He said, this was ridiculous. Y'all are acting like this woman is some sort of, Cayman's #1 criminal. Like she's running an entire criminal enterprise. She's the Dawn of it all, the Donna or whatever. This is really ridiculous. And it says a lot about your attitude towards her. So when you see armed people coming and putting their hand on their weapon and they're escorting you off in front of an entire stadium full of people, y'all are lucky that Lacee only did a live stream. Thank you, Diamond Princess. Miss, don't get to him. Y'all are lucky because I can tell you the embarrassment. And when she talked about how she cried, that made me want to cry. She's somebody's child, and she actually has not done anything wrong. And I want to make this very, very clear because some of y'all are in the fence. I heard the phone call yesterday from the gentleman. He sounds like he's from the Bahamas or Barbados or somewhere about, who was trying to explain what went down, but it seems like he was on the side of this organization saying, well, Lacee, there's a loophole. She took advantage of a loophole. There is no loophole. I have spoken to people who've been involved with this from when Cydonie was a child competing herself. And they're like, Sandy, these people don't even understand what it is that they're saying. They are wrong. Lacee was not wrong. They are wrong. So don't try to vilify this situation from her perspective and make her into a bad person. She has not done anything wrong. And to have people roll up on you like that when you have done nothing wrong is more than problematic. Y'all lucky her head not take her. Because, honey, child, they're Barneses, which I figure they're from Jamaica down in St. Elizabeth area. They have to be related to the Barneses and Cayman somewhere down the line. And ask them Barneses and Macfields when their head take them, what the hell gonna go on? It's gonna be more than a live stream, honey child. She has maintained her professionalism and her composure. And we should all be very, very proud of how she has conducted herself. So, because let's talk about overkill. You think this was beyond overkill? And this is the doings of Cydonie Mother Still. So I need to look at Cydonie here today. Cydonie is a champion. She's won 1 or 2 medals. I think Lacee has won more than her, but we're not going to go there. Just for the record, though. But listen, from Jesus was a baby, when Cydonie was a baby, this young lady has had an attitude to boot. Because she had potential, athletic potential, right? And she got special treatment rolled out back in the day. People are like, oh, she was an athlete. This was a time when we didn't have many medals. We didn't have many Caymanians doing much in the athletic front. So anybody who did a little something, we were so excited, doing backflips, government giving them scholarships, giving them money, all sorts of stuff. That was her. She got the red carpet rolled out to her. Even when she couldn't perform academically. Let me be very clear. Y'all just need to get a full picture of the situation. And y'all know when Sandy starts her investigative journey, I'm going to give you as full a picture as I can. Even when she could not perform academically in the Cayman Islands, there were people who were then part of the Athletic Association who picked little Cydonie up and sent her to Jamaica so she could get something into her head, call it edumacation, and so she could also train with coaches there at the same time. People made sacrifices for this no longer young lady who was once a young lady, and she should remember from whence she came, because her attitude today speaks of someone who thinks that their S don't stink, and it stinks to the high hills, to be very, very quite frank and honest. Yeah, this is the same young lady in the height of her career after she won one little gold medal. She had a little BFF on the track with her, and she purposely fell down on the track so that her friend could win that one instead of her. That's not sportsmanlike at all. If you're winning a race, you're either winning it to run or you go sit your behind down on the bleachers. You don't have your country invest in you and put all this money in you, and oh, you won one medal and you're satisfied with being mediocre. And I'm going to talk about that here because apparently she is very mediocre in her personal life. And that is important because that actually plays into what transpired this weekend. That mediocrity that you're okay with means that when it came time for you to run again and give it your best, you and your friend colluded so that you could fall down and give your friend an opportunity to win the medal. There are things that say a lot about a person's character that y'all need to start paying attention to. Cydonie is nobody that can gain my respect, and I don't care who don't like it. This woman has demonstrated through her actions and inactions the caliber of person that she is. She shouldn't be around young people, none at all, because if any of them and their parents had any sense, they would not want her around their children being a potential influence on their children. Your children should be looking up to someone more worthy than that. I know I can ruffle some feathers. Where's my back scratcher? Here today, honey child. Y'all pay attention now. There are times when class might be moving a little bit fast, but I want y'all to get what I'm saying. She's no role model for anybody with sense. She's only a role model for you if your standards are quite low. So, here you know. Miss Olive says, preach the good word, Sandy. God, good morning, everyone. Yes, honey child. You know the truth is what it is. So I can get to her a little bit deeper, but I want to talk about this association for a minute, all right? Harold Delroy Murray. Sir, what is wrong with you? Because you are next one that is going to have to answer some questions, some solid questions here this morning, okay? One big agenda of Cydonie is she wants to be placed on this organization. Y'all pay attention now because it gets a little bit confusing. There is a overarching, it's called, hold on now, because y'all, like I said, I had to do my research. So she wants to be on the World Athletics Commission. What's the big deal? Well, the World Athletics Commission requires you to be on a federation for a certain number of years. And then that's why 3 years ago, she became a member of NACAC, which is a North American, Central American, and Caribbean AA, Athletic Association, right? So she became a member of that so that then she could move into, because that's a requirement, so that then she could move into this World Athletics Commission. This is all about position and power, folks, and people stroking their own egos. Remember what happened with FIFA? Do I need to remind you about the scandal surrounding that? Y'all be careful, because another scandal is brewing with this athletic association. Ask Cydonie, Delroy, Mr. what his name is, Olive, Osbert, what the heck his name is. Ask all of them, when was the last time they had a financial audit the government could review? Because we give them money, we the people, aka the Cayman Islands government, the Ministry of Sports gives them money out of government coffers, and yet they cannot provide any financials to speak of. Oh, Lord Jesus. Sandy gone and open up a whoop-ass of can of worms here this morning. Did y'all understand what I just said? They have been hauled in before. I don't think Bernie has done it yet, but he better be paying attention. He better haul them back in because they have been hauled in before to answer questions about their financials because their financials were not really proper financials and made 0 sense. And yet we continue to give them money every single year. Marva talking about, am I kidding? No, I'm not kidding. In fact, the same Harold Delroy, pay attention now, class just stepped up a little bit. The same Harold Delroy decided to sue the very association that he is still a part of. Oh, say what? Yes, he surely did. And you know why he sued them? Because Cydonie Mothercell, the same Cydonie that now he in bed with, and the two of them like little devils rubbing each other back, scratching each other back, right? She was padding the votes in the organization in order to be able to continue to be on the executive. Okay, y'all follow the chain. Follow the chain. The chain of the stench is long, but we got to follow it properly. So what she does is she gets a bunch of her church members, because you know she got to be up in church pretending that life too. She gets a bunch of her church members registered as members of CIAA, now what do they call themselves? The Cayman Islands Athletic Association. No, that's what it was before. What the heck is the new name? Whatever the heck it is. Y'all know who I'm talking about. She gets them to go in and register so that then they can turn around and vote her in. Well, Mr. Delroy never liked it back in 2016. So he jumped up and sued the Cayman Islands Athletic Association, Paula Erskine, who was treasurer of the CIAA, and Barbara Wilson, who at the time was general secretary. Ask yourself this question. Where was Cydonie Mothercell in 2016? When you look at the reasons why he sued, okay? Let me see if I can pull it up on my other screen over here. And I can make this full screen so y'all can try and follow. Hopefully you can see it. The reason why he sued, good folks, is because Cydonie was allowing people to register for the sole purpose of her being to control the executive who sits there. And she was telling church members, this is who you vote for. In fact, at one of these elections, my sources revealed that she had some 3 busloads of church people show up in order to vote. I know y'all think I'm crazy, but believe me when I tell you, this is the kind of behavior that is happening in these organizations. Cydonie should be ashamed of herself. If you can get in on merit alone, that is one thing. But the fact that you can't get in on merit alone, that you got to get your church people up in the mix to come in and vote for you is a problem. So Delroy sued. Yes? Hear what he says here? That the application is issued by Harold Delroy Murray of number 10 Shipping Lane, Georgetown, Grand Cayman. The plaintiff seeks the determination of the court of the composition and names of the members of the Cayman Islands Athletic Association who are eligible to A, be nominated to fill posts on the executive committee of the CIAA for the period 2016 to 2020. B, who are eligible to vote at the 2016 annual general meeting of the Cayman Islands Athletic Association called for the election of members of the association. to the various posts on the executive committee. Further, the plaintiff seeks an injunction against the first named defendant holding its AGM on the 20th of October 2016 until the court has determined the matters called into question. Hold on now. The man was seeking an injunction where they could not even hold a AGM to elect anybody again. Why? Because Cydonie was padding the executive with her own people. And she was ensuring that people of her church were coming in by the busloads to become members and show up that day and that day only. All right. These were not active members. They have nothing to do with track and field. Most of them probably so out of shape, they don't even know what a track looks like. Nope. They ain't got nothing to do with track and field. They don't care about athletics. They don't have a passion for the sport. They're just there to be yes men and women so that Cydonie can control the executive. So before Delroy filed this lawsuit, he went to the executive and asked for the membership. And guess who wouldn't give it to him? The same Cydonie mother still that he's now up her rear end. And they so kissy. Oh, how times have changed, huh? Yes, honey child. We coming out with the receipts. The goods are here. That's exactly what he did. She refused to give it. So then the following year, he said, well, if you refuse to give it, I'm going to sue the association. And you will have no choice but to provide the information because the court is going to compel you to do so. Wow. Seeking an injunction to stop an AGM? Then what he says, the court paper says, and the plaintiff seeks a further order that the second and third named defendants do produce all the documentary evidence in their possession relative to the members of the first defendant for the years 2014 to 2016. The same period of time that he had requested that information from Cydonie, and she refused to give it to him. Here, you know. You understand? This is a problem. So his lawsuit, here the outcome now, got thrown out on a technicality. I've not yet been able to determine the exact nature of the technicality, but it got thrown out on a technicality, and he was ordered to pay the association $15,000 in legal fees. Well. Pay attention now, class. Here's what happened. The same said Cydonie Mothersill. At the committee meeting, where like, okay, the judge ordered him to pay $15,000. She went to bat for Delroy. Now, this smells of some kind of backdoor dealings. She went to bat for Delroy and said, no. Let's not have him pay the $15,000. Let's just charge him a nominal fee. Oh, the court ordered him to pay 15 grand. And her rest of the executive members wanted him to pay what the court ordered. And Cydonie and her little lackeys on the executive, because whatever she tells them to do now, they do. No. Let's just charge him a couple of $1,000. Hold on a second now. I know what y'all are thinking. Y'all are smart. Y'all in the back of the classroom going, but Sandy, this can't be right. These are the same people who come to government begging for government funds, and they could have had 15 grand in their coffers recouping legal fees, and she refused to take the money that the court ordered from another executive member? Yes, honey child. That's exactly what I just said. Allow that to sink in while I sip my tea, because that is some hot mess right there. Okay. So there you go now. Back in bed with each other. She did him a solid favor right there. So of course he gonna have her back. Wow. So we have two major concerns, right? Her membership, or the membership of this association, between 2014 and 2016 more than doubled because of her unlawfully and illegally padding the association with members through her church. And furthermore, hold on now, because you know them church members be cheap, honey child. They're not going to pay the membership fee. She paid it for them, except she must not be very good at math, because the allegation has always been, and this is why the ministry was like, something not adding up here. The allegation has been, and this is what Delroy was getting at, if we have all these members, we should be able to see the corresponding membership fee of X dollar amount, and that does not add up. So I don't know what kind of fancy math she was using, but she paid like $200, whatever. Oh yeah, this is the membership fee. She was paying it herself, you see. And it come to find out, these people never paid their membership fee. Now, that's got to be unscrupulous and illegal somewhere in the world. What kind of oversight do we have for these so-called associations, especially when they're getting government money? I'm asking because I want to know. But after he got his case thrown out in a technicality, he was ordered to pay their legal fees, and she brokered a deal. Then he's like, well, I'm riding with the devil, honey child. Hee-haw. And the two of them been riding ever since. So that's one explanation of what's going on here, right? They ran into issues with the minister previously, and this current minister, he better start doing some digging. Don't take my word for it, honey child. Do your independent digging. Okay? No accounting of the money. Fail the audit. That's what the ministry said. You fail the audit. We can't see the money. Starting to sound like another FIFA situation to me. So Cydonie has her mind set on becoming a member of the World Athletics Commission. In order for her to do that, she's got to stay on the Cayman Islands Athletic Association forever. And then she goes to NACAC, which she's done. She got that 3 years ago. Now let's talk about her other poor decision-making and how that has impacted your children. I can read some of y'all comments first before we get there, because I know y'all are in a bit of shock this morning. Johan is in the house. Johan, what's up? Oh, God. Johan says, try so chill out and go easy and try not to defame anybody. Best to produce evidence and facts before you walk that path. Actions have consequences. Johan, nobody needs a legal lesson from you. Believe me, you. I don't need it from you, and probably nobody else in the classroom needs it from you. We are well-versed in the thing called defamation. And we are also well-versed in a thing called facts. And I speak the facts. If Cydonie thinks she can challenge me, tell her I said to go right ahead, honey child, because she will get a lesson of her own that she needs by now. Okay? So don't come with your foolishness this morning, son. You go sit in the back of the classroom. We don't need to hear from you. You see, this is it. Everybody be so scared. Oh, I don't want to get sued. I don't want to say nothing. I don't want to stand up. I want to be Switzerland. I want to be neutral. No, the time for neutrality is when the wrongdoings are not going on. When you're in the thick of this type of a situation, y'all better find your voice and you better speak up. And you better start outing people like Cydonie Mothersill. Because she does not need to be where she is. Thank you, Miss Diamond Princess. He says his last name is Francis. All right. Whoever he is, because I want to be very clear. I don't know these people, and I do not care. I don't have to know them to speak the truth on them. Okay? Morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Yes, hello. Good morning.
Yes, my darling.
Sandy, this seems like deja vu.
Boy, I tell you.
Deja vu. Like, people tend to forget. Why people have short-term memory?
Boy, I don't know.
Because, and the reason why I'm saying this, did somebody remember Jeff Webb? Does anybody remember him? And I mean, I'm not saying that she's that, but she's surely coming up to it.
Yeah. Yes.
And I'm sure people like him had signed red flags from time he was in the local community. Very charismatic. Everybody love him. You know, he's there. But then things don't add up. Things is not adding up with her.
Yeah.
And if we are quick to start saying, don't talk about people like that because you have them on a pedestal. What now? Oh, great. She went to Olympics and everything. Okay.
And
great. Job
exactly.
done.
Exactly.
But what else? What else? It's a shame that we have kids going to this event and don't even have proper shoes. Come on, no man. And then I blame everybody. Because the Ministry of Sports, ain't you supposed to be on top of these other committees? Yeah, they're independent, but you're supposed to be on top of them. You're supposed to be on top of them. The numbers have to match up. And also, too, why is she having so much power? Why are we allowing an individual to have so much power? I'm so confused why we have this woman in so much power. She can influence anybody. Why?
Yes. Well, I'm trying to explain how easily bought out these individuals are. So you see now why Delroy is under her wing, because she saved him from paying that $15,000 fee. And there's just so much shenanigans that are going on, and you know, this one doing that one a favor, and nepotism, and you know, this is part of the problem.
And you know what? And this is what our problem is as a nation, because this also goes on in the upper levels. So while everybody complain about the expats, the expats are laughing at us. They laugh at us because we have the disorganization, we have all of this, whatever this mixture is, while they're here taking advantage of getting the jobs, while we're here, you know, being friends with everybody and afraid to step on somebody's toes when they're not for the people. She is not for the people. It is quite obvious when she defended her husband.
Oh, we get into that, honey child. We get into that.
That's what I am saying.
Yes.
So why do we have somebody who defend us, a predator, and still have so much power? Is something seriously wrong with us?
There is something wrong with us. Yes.
There because we tend to just say, "Oh, it's gone," but we don't dig deeper. And I expect. I'm not saying I hope. I expect the Minister of Sports to get to the bottom of this.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
we should stop being reactive. Wait for somebody to blow the whistle in order for us to act. That is why we have you there, Minister, is so that you can put these associations accountable.
Yes.
That's all.
Or stop giving him money. One of the two.
And one of the two. If they're screaming for money, well, where the money going? It obviously not going to some of these kids. And somebody made a comment that all they worried about is certain sports like football or whatever. And that shouldn't be the case. But I'm very concerned about this, and I'm glad that you brought it up. But I always thought something was off about this woman. And we shouldn't have her have so much power to start calling out people from the stadium. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Do this.
She's gone unchecked. She's gone unchecked for far too long, caller, and that's a problem. Long. That's a problem.
Far too long. Thank you, Sandy.
All right, my dear. Thank you so much. Okay. Yeah, unfortunately, when people go unchecked, their egos get the better of them, and that's why they say, you know, power has this ability to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. You've got to have checks and balances in place and be in a position where nobody believes that they are above the law. Nobody is above the law. It applies to everyone equally, from the governor, the premier, you know, civil servants, all the way down. But what we want to do is apply the law from the bottom up to maybe halfway up the middle. And then the people who are in their top positions get a pass. And as that caller rightfully said, we have already been scandalized as a country, as a jurisdiction, because of Jeff Webb and that whole situation. The fallout still continues to this day. This month, we're waiting the sentencing for two of our bright, minds, Caymanians, who could really have been anything in this country making a contribution. And yet, because of this CIFA and FIFA mix-up, they're going to be going to jail. Yeah? If at some point we start to stop people before it gets that far, before their egos get the better of them, we wouldn't have the Canova Watsons of the world. Sorry, Canova. But you really screwed up. Okay? You sitting down making calculations. Remember during his trial, they found in his computer Excel documents about how he was planning on spending the money from the Care Pay thing, the millions that he stole and he was planning to steal from the Cayman Islands government. And all of the people who should have been checking things off, including government officials, let's not forget now, HSA staff, Chief Officer Earhart, her name is Earnhardt, Jennifer Earnhardt. She was there. She testified. Rubber stamping when she should have been double checking, cross checking, triple checking, making sure all the I's are dotted and all the T's are crossed. She was simply rubber stamping. And they saw signs that something was not right, and they allowed it to continue. Signing out and paying off money in checks and not doing the proper due diligence. It's like, what? $1 million payout? And you're not making sure you know who actually owns the company? You don't see the conflict of interest? And there's lots of conflicts of interest on this particular executive as well. The biggest one being with Cydonie Mothersill. Gabby says her husband still work with kids. You hold your horses, Gabby. Coming back to you here. Cindy says we have our own Caymanians going hard and in full force for us. She no longer was ever needed to represent us. Kiss my teeth. Nobody, absolutely nobody, will come here and treat my people no way, because red flags. Olive says preach the good word. Jonathan, good morning. He says you can open the can of worms, but someone will come to open up that can of, will come later, I'm sure. Keep talking. Don't worry, honey child. We getting there. Everton says, good morning, Sandy. See, that's why I don't believe in some of these churches. Church should stay out of politics altogether, because what you're talking about right now is politics. Church, stay out of politics. We have the same problem here in the USA. That's my 2 cents. First Lady says, open the can. Yeah, she's here for it. Alejandro, buenos dias. When the people don't like the politics of the emperor, they send them to the circus and build big coliseums, throwing the Christians to the lions, and have great chariot races and football matches, football games. What a mess. Renee says they all did Tyrone so bad. I knew the day would come when they would all turn on each other. God don't sleep. Well, we the people must also not be sleeping. That's why God gave us common sense, folks, because he expects us to do better. Yeah, we know better. We must do better. It's as simple as that. All right. So I told you guys back in 2017, CMR got started in June of 2017. By November-ish or so, we started to get very much involved in this case with her husband. Let me refresh your memory, because once again, I know how people, like the last caller said, have such short-term memories. Yeah? This man. Yeah, let me back up before we even get to this. Before you, I have the extradition papers out of the United States of America, where we had to extradite him because he ran from this jurisdiction. And I remember the day that he ran, because I got a phone call about this coach. Sandy, there's this coach, and he's on a plane right now running. I said, oh, he got insider information that they were about to arrest him. But before we get to that part of the story, let's talk about his wife, Cydonie Mothersill. She knew for years of complaints against her husband. I was trying to remember, and I've got a court of appeal case here, which he lost. And I was trying to do my best, actually, to remember how this story went as it relates to her involvement. Because, you know, I don't want to give the woman more involvement in it than she actually had. So I dug up my cases. You guys know these things are a matter of public record. And I for some reason, I can't find his original judgment, but I was there in court when it was read, because I remembered looking at the judge and thinking to myself, wow, this poor man is so disgusted by this case, right? So I attended some of the trial, heard some of the witnesses, and then I was there for the judgment the day he was found guilty of some. And let me be very clear, he wasn't found guilty of the most serious things because of the way it went down with the young lady. There were no witnesses, so it became, you know, kind of her word against his. And there were some inconsistencies in her memory, what she was recalling, which isn't entirely unheard of for witnesses to be a little bit unsure about certain things. So he got off on those, but I tell you what they did. For the things that he got off on, they made sure that they doubled up on the other things so that at the end of the day, he didn't get off scot-free because the judge was sick to his stomach. Yes, I remember looking at the judge and thinking to myself, wow, this man is bothered by the facts of this situation. The words that he used, and I wanted to find that judgment, but I haven't been able to place my hand on it yet because he read it in open court. They may not have typed it up, but it's not available online, but I gotta go digging because y'all need to hear what was said, what he was saying to this particular victim. He was grooming her in the most egregious way possible. Eddie says, I'm staying up late here in the Philippines listening to your topic. It's very interesting. Thanks for all the detailed information. You are welcome. But what we do have is we do have the appeal judgment where he went to the Court of Appeal in November of 2017, and the Court of Appeal turned down his appeal. And so when I was preparing for today's program and I refreshed my memory a little bit, I said, oh, Lord Jesus, I need to refresh the memory of the people of the Cayman Islands. Cydonie Mothersill was not only a member of the Cayman Islands Athletic Association at the time, she was also in business with her husband. And it is through that athletic business that the husband had access to these victims. Here, you know. Yeah. Shall I say that again? This isn't just a wife who was complacent and acted by omission when it came to the ills of her husband being a pedophile and child molester and grooming children. Yeah? She, in my opinion, was an active participant in the sense that victims and their parents came to her and she refused to do anything about it. She refused. The law is there, y'all. Go check the children's law. The children's law has mandatory reporting obligations. Why this woman was never charged is beyond me, because she should have been charged with aiding and abetting. She should have gone to jail with her husband. People complained and she ignored it. The executive ignored it along with her. Gave these victims no justice. Wow. The court document here, I know it might be a little bit hard to see. Let me try to make it full screen. This now is the extradition papers. So I, the undersigned Assistant United States Attorney being duly sworn, state on information and belief that the following is true. In this matter, I act for on behalf of the government of the United Kingdom. There is an extradition treaty enforced between the government of the United States of America and the government of the United Kingdom of Britain and Northern Ireland, in which an exchange of notes extended application to the treaty to the Cayman Islands. So this is how we get access to extradite people through the United States of America, is because of this treaty that they have with the UK. Thank you, UK. Pursuant to Article 8 of the treaty, the government of the United Kingdom has submitted a provisional arrest request through diplomatic channels for the provisional arrest of Atto Modibo Stevens. By the way, hold on now. This man changed his name. Back in 2008, he had a name change. He's a disgraced athlete in his own country. Yes. He was found to be in 2009. He failed a drug test and was banned from competition for 2 years for the infraction. In other words, he was doping as a so-called athlete, winning medals and doping. So originally from Trinidad and Tobago. I don't know how Cydonie met up with him, honey child, but that is what it is. That is what it is. Really, really sad. He was charged with indecent assault and gross indecency involving a minor. All right. This is the caliber of individual that she thinks is worthy of being around our children. If she wants to be married to him, that's her business, you know. Understand me very, very clearly, because some of y'all don't have no sense when it comes to your partners. You'll pick up any kind of trash. Yeah? Any kind of child molester. But when you are in a position of trust, when you are in a position of responsibility to young people, underage girls, I trust that you understand the difficulty involved in ignoring complaints of such a serious nature just because it is your husband. No, sir. Y'all have got to understand. In fact, what happened, and this is now where I'm going to refer to the other document, which is the Court of Appeal decision, which basically says, son, get away from us. You ain't got no grounds for appeal. Listen to what they say in summary of the facts. The appellant was an athletic coach. One of those he was teaching was a girl between 14 and 15 years old. During a lengthy period of time between 2015 and 2016, he sent a very large number of messages to her of a sexual nature. They were sent through a Digicel phone between June and July of 2015, where the victim was 14 years old, and November 2015 to February of 2016, when she was 15 years old. It says it is unnecessary for the purposes of this appeal to quote some of those messages, but they have conveniently and without argument been summarized as messages sent by the appellant, either asking for or suggesting that the young girl send nude or semi-nude photographs. They describe masturbation or sexual conduct or other sexual activity. A large number, at least 22 of the photographs were sent by the victim accompanying some of these messages. They were clearly intended and had the effect of conducting, by the means of the phone, in a sexual relationship between the two. It almost goes without saying, but nevertheless must be underlined that the relationship between the two was one of trust, since the victim was dependent upon the appellant for the training and expertise that he was able to give her as an athlete. The messages, fortunately, were discovered by a parent, and that fortunately is in the court document. Hold on now. Let me get to this part. This is where now I'm trying to remember which document this is in. Anyway, let's take this call while I search for something else. Caller, good morning and welcome to the program. Hello, caller. Uh-oh. Caller hung up. Call back, caller. All right, so listen now. I think that might have been in the extradition document. Let me see here. Okay, the warrant, this is the extradition document, so I'm going to be kind of flipping back and forth. It says here that the warrant was issued on the basis of the following facts, which are summarized in materials provided by the requesting state. Stevens and his wife. Let me pause there. Y'all understand what I just said? She is named in the extradition document. Stevens and his wife were the owners and operators of Trinity Track Club, a club that specializes in the training of young athletes in track and field. Let me stop there. This is how he was recruiting his victims, through a track club that they jointly owned. This is where I say Cydonie has now moved from merely being compliant or ignorant or, unaware to, in my opinion, being elevated to a completely different level of involvement in this matter. You guys saw the case the other day where the wife found out that her husband was molesting children at her daycare center. Y'all saw what she did to him? I tell you what she didn't do. She didn't help him leave the jurisdiction. She didn't help him get away and run to the United States of America or some other country because they're in the US. She instead shot him. That's what she did. Most sensible women would not be putting up with this kind of foolishness, right? You go after children, you've lost all respect from your wives and people in the community, except if you're Cydonie Mothersill and a few other people. No, honey child. This was her business. So he was having access through children via the Trinity Track Club. That's where he was a coach of. And she has the audacity to call up and to try to string up Lacee and Barnes and embarrass her in front of people. The person you should be stringing up, Cydonie, with no due respect, is your own husband. That is who you should have been trying to make a public spectacle out of. But instead, you have been going to bat for this man for years. The allegations are she is the one who tipped him off based on her insider information and questions that were being asked of others around the investigation that an arrest was imminent. So that is why he ran from the jurisdiction. What y'all think? Right before they were going to arrest this man, he picked up and left the jurisdiction, knowing the day of reckoning was coming. And he stayed away for well over a year, as my memory recalls. And guess who was visiting him all the time, jumping on Cayman Airways? In fact, on one of those occasions, I saw her in the plane myself. None other than Cydonie Mothersill. Guess who was sending him money? Guess who was keeping him financially afloat? Taking her children to go and visit their father. This same Cydonie Mothersill that y'all have around your children. The extradition papers says the victim referred to here as minor A was 14 years old at the time of the abuse. She disclosed, before I read any further, please, if you have children listening to this program, the documents are now going to get very graphic. Turn it off for a minute. Do not have underage children listen to what is in this court document. This is too much for them. Your adult ears need to hear why this man was extradited. And the allegations against him, although he was able to get off in court because the witness, memory was kind of failing. She said, okay, these kids were in the car with me when he dropped me off here and there. But you better believe this victim. You're not going to be sending a young girl those types of messages if you don't have intentions of having sexual intercourse with her. Let's be very, very clear. All right, no minors listening. Here's what the court document says. Minor A disclosed that on at least 2 occasions between April and November of 2015, Stevens inserted his fingers into her underwear and touched her vagina. On other occasions, Stevens removed her clothing and exposed his penis to her and invited her to touch him, but she refused to do so. The abuse occurred after practices when Stevens would drive minor A home. Okay. Y'all understand that his wife, did nothing. Not just this victim. There are other victims, and I know for a fact that some of them are listening to the show this morning. I see you, honey child, who their parents stepped forward, found messages. You know what I had people say to me? Now, y'all have got to understand why I am disturbed by the lackadaisical attitude that is in Cayman, and particularly from Caymanians. Y'all need to start stepping up. After all of this came out, someone said to me, and this is a man who has children, and he has girl children, as Caymanians would say, there was always something wrong with him, yeah. I didn't like how he used to look at these girls and how he would be moving around them. Really? And I said to this person, well, what did you do about that? I did nothing. We were just talking about it. Okay. That, folks, is the problem. Y'all love to talk about it, and you're not doing nothing about it. If you see something, you need to speak up. These children need our protection from predators like this. He was grooming this girl, and y'all know exactly where this was going to end. This would have been just like the other one now, the former political candidate. What his name was again? They're from Bodden Town. What his name is again? The other sick one. Oh Lord, I can't remember his name now. Oh Lord. Oh, what is that name? Quite a few of them child molesters, honey child. I hate to tell y'all, but y'all know who I'm talking about. Anyway, thankfully, the young lady had a video of the incident, because had she not recorded it, y'all would not believe her either, and he would have walked scot-free. Because, he's an upstanding church member. He's a youth pastor. He's trying to help these girls. He's giving them phones and this and that and all that kind of stuff. Johan seems confused this morning. He says, how is this relevant to the Cayman Athletic Association? Johan, I'm a little bit surprised. This is relevant. Let me break it down, since Johan's not getting it. He says it's not the fault of the association. It surely is, because the association received complaints through his wife, who was president at the time, and the association did nothing. His wife did nothing, and the association did nothing, and other members were also complacent. But because she wields such power in the association, she did nothing. What part are you missing, Johan? This is the responsibility of the association. They never suspended him. They never investigated it. They never did a single thing. What they did was, through her, was tip him off and allowed him to run from this jurisdiction. So I'm holding every single one of the members back then wholly responsible for this mess. Now, Johan, you need to pay attention so you can get back to the front of the classroom, because right now you're in the naughty corner, because you're just not paying attention. Here's what else she was not just complacent with, but she actually was an active participant. You see what Liana says? This has been happening from 2010, from when I can remember as a track member. It's nothing new. Multiple victims have stepped forward and said he was messaging my kids. He was doing this. He was doing that. Webster, thank you, Liasa. Yes, that's another sick one that would have gotten completely off. Arrington, Webster, thank you, Kaylee. He would have gotten off if it was not for the evidence, the overwhelming video. Because when you saw him begging that little girl, oh, touch it, touch it, touch it. And she's like, no, I don't want to do that. Y'all see the pressure that these disgusting men put these poor children under. And it is our responsibility as a community to protect them. Instead, she's giving him access through her club. So it all came to head. These matters came to light on February the 17th, 2016, when MH, the mother of minor A, noticed messages on her daughter's phone from Stevens requesting that she send him explicit photos of himself and telling her to delete their conversations from the phone. Minor A said that Stevens threatened that she would be removed from the track team if she did not do as he asked. Hello, Johan, abuse of power. And this is a woman who is going to come full circle. You need to continue to pay attention. Continues to support her husband through this entire ordeal. Threatening the young lady about removal from the team? Yeah. Investigators analyzed minor A's phone, which revealed a series of messages between the two, including 22 images of the victim partially clothed. On February the 18th, 2016, MH, this is the mother now, called Stevens and asked to speak with him. Stevens came to MH's home. Let me put this back up so y'all can keep up now. Keep up. All right. And upon hearing of what had been discovered on the phone, apologized to minor A's parents and asked for their forgiveness. Oh, Jesus Christ. Say what? MH then told Stevens she would report the matter. On the 19th, the victim and MH reported Stevens' conduct to the police. Later that day, the police went to his home in Savannah. You know, the home that the wife owns right here in Savannah Meadows. And they were unable to locate him. Inquiries indicate that Stevens left the island on February the 19th on board of an American Airlines flight to the United States. Yes. Stevens is believed to be residing within the jurisdiction of this court at 829 Northeast 199th Street, apartment 102 in Miami, Florida. Yes, honey, chill. The officials knew exactly where he was, thanks to Cydonie. Investigators learned that minor A and her parents had known Stevens for some time, as he was the victim's track and field coach. Based on the statements from the victim and MH, investigators obtained a photograph of Stevens and further confirmed that the person in the photograph was the coach the victim referred to and the owner and operator of Trinity Track Club. As a result of their investigation, investigators further concluded that Stevens is the same person that the victim identified as the person who committed these crimes, and who also who MH identified as the person who apologized to her and her husband and asked for forgiveness when confronted with his abuse of the victim. Wow. Right. They go on to talk about the section of the United Kingdom agreement that he be arrested and be brought before the court to the end that the evidence of criminality may be heard and considered, and that this complaint and the warrant be placed under the seal of the court until such time as the warrant is executed. So he was extradited back to the United States of America. all the documents right this. See, that's him. That's additional documentation. Citizenship of the principal party. He has citizenship in multiple countries, basis of jurisdiction, nature of the complaint, who signed off on it. The documents are right there. All right. So he gets sent back to the Cayman Islands, and of course he goes and stays with the wife, stays in the family home, and she's supporting him the whole time. So the prosecution, y'all know that they slack as slack can be sometimes. I mean, I give them credit where credit is due. A lot of times they do a phenomenal job and they really work hard. In this case now, you know, they tried their best with the more serious offenses. Sadly, he got off. But the judge was a smart man. It was a judge alone trial. And he said, we can't get you on these offenses, right? However, what you were doing to this young girl was a misuse of the ICT offense. Yeah. And so we are going to get you one way or the other. Because the judge in his mind might have been thinking, and he said it, we can't prove, the prosecution hasn't elevated the case high enough on these more serious offenses. But by darn it, based on the prolific messages that you sent this young lady, we know exactly what you were up to. Yeah, but judges are smart. They're not going to convict someone and have their conviction be unsafe and get turned over. And they got him in what they could, which was Section 91, which is an all-encompassing section of the ICTA law, where a person knowingly uses an ICT network or ICT service to defraud, abuse, annoy, threaten, or harass any other person is guilty of an offense. The maximum period of imprisonment on conviction and indictment is 1 of 2 years. So he got 18 months, but he was already in custody, so a lot of that was time served. Okay? He lost his appeal on multiple grounds. It says here at paragraph 10 that it is vital in looking at the context of the use of that ordinary word to take into account the circumstances of the person to whom they were sent. Thus, words which might not be regarded as threatening to one particular victim might well be regarded as threatening to a vulnerable victim. Underage children, folks, are considered vulnerable victims. Similarly, messages of a sexual nature sent to an adult may be no more than a symptom or sign of affection, whereas sent to one who in law is not in a position to consent, they might well, in our judgment, amount to abuse. Yes. They are an aspect of ill treatment of a minor in those circumstances. In our view, are properly to be regarded as words whereby the defendant uses a network to abuse the victim. He's sending words of an indecent sexual nature to someone who is to be protected by the law from their receipt. Y'all see it there? Number 10. That is the job of the courts and everybody else that should be in this community as well. So they dismiss at point number 11, they dismiss the appeal against conviction. Then he tried to appeal his sentence. So the judge passed a sentence of 18 months imprisonment in circumstances, which he made clear his reasons for the sentence. He intended to take into account, as he made clear in his reasons, the period of time which the appellant had been in custody in the U.S. That was just under 12 months. He also took into account the appellant had contested account 4, but as the judge put it, had only contested it on the basis of legal advice. The judge said that he bore in mind the maximum sentence was 1 of 2 years imprisonment and went on to say that I consider this towards the top end of the dash. In fact, if not at the very top end of it, behavior covered by count 4. All right. So pretty much he didn't really serve any time. And then he was out because he already had been in custody for what amounted to that. But you see, this becomes important because then the fight was on to remove him from the jurisdiction. And if he could get that conviction or even the sentence under a year, it was going to be a lot harder to deal with him. He lost the appeal on both counts. Yes. All right. After his case and he lost the appeal, let me refresh your memories. Johan, are you paying attention to what this has to do with the association? His wife continued to sit on the association board. Okay? And he threatened and sent a letter of intent to bring action against the Cayman Islands Athletic Association. His wife said nothing, and she did nothing. Again, complacent with his attitude. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Auntie Sandy.
Yes, sir.
It's your favorite beaten stick, Johan Moxham. How's it going?
Oh, I got beat you today because you need it.
No. Don't get me wrong. Just for the record, the actions of that individual are vile and despicable. He should never be allowed to set foot on this island again. And his sentence was a complete joke. Complete joke. What he is lucky is that he didn't mess with the right person's child, because there would be no complaints now about, he only got X amount of time, or he's doing this or doing that. Something far more serious, because that type of sick individual deserves only one fate, because that type of monster destroys a life, and we don't know how many other people that they've done the same thing to. So from that perspective, you and I are on the same page. All I'm trying to say, this conversation started as a result of what I thought was a really good interview with the Miss Barnes Riley athlete. I understand that there's issues that have gone on with the CI Athletics Association, and obviously there was a major set of mess ups and embarrassing situation that occurred in the Bahamas. All I was saying, and all I mean to say on this issue is, whatever Miss Cydonie and her husband have done, that is not a reflection on the current administration of the Cayman Islands Athletic Association.
But it reflects on them when they refuse to do nothing about her, knowing this history of her behavior of protecting a pedophile.
Listen, I can't argue with that. If I'm on the board, I'd look at this and I go, you just don't, for the want of a better word, your involvement in the sport, given all that has transpired, and your defense of your husband doesn't sit well with us or with what we're trying to be. So therefore, some corrective actions need to be taken. But Sandy, with the greatest of respect, and again, I don't know Cydonie from a bucket of paint. I don't know the lady.
Well, neither do I, but I know her actions, which speaks volumes.
Just let me say this, Cydonie, how many women in the Cayman Islands and in the world don't stand by their man regardless of what happens?
No, but there's a different obligation, Johan. This is the problem that maybe you're not quite understanding, right?
No. I understand the obligation, but what I'm saying is delving into his vile character and actions and connecting that to the current administration of the Cayman Islands Amateur Athletics Association.
But how many of them were there when all this was going on?
But I think that needs to be the basis of your conversation.
They've been there for, many of them have been there for years. Delroy was there, and he's still there, and he's doing nothing.
I don't know the facts of that, but I would just
have to be careful. I told you that he sued the association before all this went down in 2017.
Rightfully so. All I'm saying is, if the issue is the dysfunction of the association, that's one thing. The actions of that individual, that criminal, that pervert, that predator, who should never again be allowed to set foot in the Cayman Islands. And here's the funny thing. We need to have legislation in place. And Sandra, I will give you your credit and Jack his jacket. You're the only person that has for decades been talking about a registered sexual offenders sort of process. I don't know why people won't do it or why people in power won't do it outside of maybe they know some people that are sickos and related to them or in some way indebted to them. But I want to thank you because that is the one thing that brought you on my radar, and you've always been a champion for that, and you deserve all the credit. The fact that we've had multiple elected governments that have failed to implement something as basic as that, and more importantly, we've had multiple elected governments that have failed to change the legislation to give these sick bastards the real level of jail time that they deserve. The question is why? That's a bigger issue than CIAA or all the rest of it, because what has happened, we've mushroomed and conflated, I think, two issues. I'm not saying you're wrong. All I'm saying is not everybody at CIAA, not every parent and volunteer at Athletics Association has signed up to this level of nonsense. And the decision makers have to make that decision on how to move forward. That's
they have known enough. Like I said, victims have been complaining. Leanna said there's many great athletes left behind in the corruption, about 30 victims plus boys too. This was never justified. Listen to me. They would have known enough. If you want to get, like I said from the onset, if you want to get involved in these organizations, you can't just get involved in them blindly and pretend like you don't see nothing. You're like the monkey, don't hear no evil, see no evil, nothing. You can't do that. You have to be alert. You have to be on the lookout. You have to be an active member. That's even her padding all of these, fake members to come and vote her in so she can stay in a position that is completely wrong. There's too many things that this association and even the ministry by extension have been turning a blind eye to while we, the people, are funding this organization and our young people are getting little to no benefit from it.
I'm not gonna argue with that. I can sign up to all of what you just said there. But here's the reality. There's too many people in Cayman. Sandy, you are rare. I know I'm a rare animal. I don't sit on the sidelines and just beat my guns. If I know something's wrong, I go at it straight ahead. How many Caymanians sit on the sidelines and say nothing? They just kind of like, and you heard, and you know, and how can this and how can that? Until we as a people muster up the courage to stand up and fight the good fight. And I'm not saying that you're right every day, but I do applaud your bravery in tackling some real big issues head on. But we deserve what we get because too many are keyboard warriors. They sit on the sideline and they hope Sandra does something. They hope this one does something. You got to do it yourself. To the leadership of the Cayman Islands Amateur Athletic Association, if all that you are alleging, that you are presenting today is true, and they are comfortable to maintain an individual with that has besmirched the reputation of the association, they need to look themselves in the mirror and go, am I helping or am I hurting the association? And why am I allowing that black mark to continue? Because it's really simple. There are people in this country that have got fired for less from paying jobs. Okay? So it's about doing the right thing if you want to be taken seriously. There's a reason why certain associations don't get corporate sponsorship for a variety of different reasons, but this situation doesn't help. All I'm saying is that one individual or the lady and her grievance with whomever, they do not define what the quality work that has been done by, in my opinion, people past and present from the CI Athletics Association, and we can't beat up and besmirch all of the good work that has been done, because here's what we're not talking about. These guys have come off of a record-setting sort of weekend in Carifta, and we're spending time talking about a sick bastard who deserves nothing short of being, I'm not gonna even say it, never mind.
But listen to me, Johan.
You hear what I'm saying?
We can't fix this association, right? Even with the successes that they had, right? No, hold on. Let me finish what I'm telling you. We cannot fix this association without digging up the underbelly of what has transpired, because those same people are there. How do we move forward with the same dysfunctionality that was there during all of this with Atto Stevens that remains there? And I'm still not finished with the facts that I'm bringing to the table about how much they would have ignored and been compliant with.
Sandra, let's be fair and let's go after all the associations that put our kids at risk.
I don't have no problem with that. Tell everybody, like I said, people from the Netball Association were contacting me yesterday. Tell them to bring it all forth. We will expose it. One association, we'll go through all of them if we need to. That isn't the point. The point is today's topic is about finally, because this has been going on for far too long, exposing this particular association. And this particular association has a number of egregious things happening within it. The padding of membership, financials that nobody can speak of, right? That don't make no sense, that don't add up, and they're government funded. Abuse of children through one of the track entities, and no one has ever been held accountable for that within the organization. And now where I'm going next, this is why I need you to pay attention. Where I'm going next with this is when finally then President Lacee Barnes, pay attention to the last name, had no choice but to hold this man accountable, who stood by him, continued to stood by him, and who now is retaliating against Lance's daughter. Now it's payback time. You need to keep paying attention. Like I said, it was a deep rabbit hole, but we getting there.
I made some sort of connection between all of that, like, you know, and I.
Yeah, well, I need to make sure that everybody understands and we're spelling it out properly.
But all I'm saying is, Atto Stevens and Cydonie Mothersill do not define what the Cayman Islands Athletics Association has achieved.
But they have been allowed to blemish all achievements that fall under that association, and they're still continuing to do so.
And hopefully, as a result of your investigative journalism and exposure, the right decision will be made.
Well, the board needs to go.
If I was a parent,
they all need to step down now.
Well,
yeah.
Okay, if that's your objective, that's your objective.
Yeah, I mean, they all need to step down now. Enough is enough.
I just wanted
all
to.
All right, Johan. Thank you very much.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Appreciate it. All right, we're not finished yet. This is the thing about the situation now. We're not finished. Okay. So back in 2017, after the man gets convicted and we go through all this rigmarole, all right, he comes out and the first thing he does, keep in mind again, his wife is on the executive. At no point does she ever step aside and say, oh, there's a conflict of interest, I need to step down. She never, ever does that. Yeah. So at some point, he decides that he is going to sue the Athletic Association because then President Lacee Barnes said, oh, you can't come back. Wrote him this letter that it was the decision to remove him subject to their constitution. He claims that it was unlawful and violated the provision of the revised constitution, along with the violation of my fundamental human rights protected under the ECHR UK Human Rights Act 1998 and the Cayman Islands Constitution 2009. So he starts to fight the organization. And again, then President Lacee Barnes had him removed. Y'all need to pay very, very close attention to how this is relevant, directly relevant to what transpired over the weekend with Lacee. November the 27th, he received an expulsion letter signed by Lacee Barnes, president of the CIAA. And I can tell you without fear of contradiction that the same said Cydonie Mothersill told Lacee, I'm going to get you for this. This is a woman who is an active participant. And the fact that other members, executive members of the CIAA would sit back and allow her over the weekend to yield. And I want to be very, very clear, because as the person who's resigned said, the members left and came and knew nothing about this. They were not consulted. Question whether or not then that even was a proper decision. if the majority of the executive did not make the decision, if it's just these three, what I'm going to now refer to as rogue members? Could they have even had Lacee removed? I question, and I doubt it. Right? But they had a general meeting, and the decision was made. The letter was signed by then President Lacee Barnes to have him expelled from the CIAA at the time. His wife sitting back being very, very complacent. Now, let me take a quick commercial break, because what I'm going to tell y'all next, I want y'all to make sure you're wide awake for it. So during the commercial break, top up your coffees and get yourself sorted out.
Get your taste buds ready, because Taste of Cayman is back. Join us May 13th at Festival Green, Camana Bay. Eat, drink, and dance the night away. Taste of Cayman offers the very best of Cayman's food and drink scene, with plenty of music to keep the party going. Get your festival tickets online today at tasteofcayman.org or call 623-6700. Brought to you by the Cayman Islands Tourism Association and sponsored by AI Rentals, Camana Bay, DMS Broadcasting, and numerous valued partners.
Ocean Ridge Heights offers an amazing opportunity to own a piece of land in idyllic Cayman Brac, right on the bluff, starting from $80,000. Located in a quiet residential area with high elevation, these lots are ideal for a future home or investment property and are sure to go fast. Cayman Brac offers a laid-back lifestyle, amazing pristine diving, limestone caves, diverse flora, along with amazing wildlife. Inquire about the owner financing options so that you can secure your piece of paradise today. With only a few lots remaining, these are sure to go before you know it. Contact Crichton Properties today on 345-949-5250 or info@crichtonproperties.com.
All right, folks. Listen very, very carefully to this now, right? They expel him, they remove him. We kick up in the community. Eventually, he is removed from the jurisdiction. He actually left right before cabinet finally got the balls, because they were wafering until the opposition got involved. Al then finally said, oh, okay, we got to get him to go. The letter was sent to the governor, and he now has been, removed formally from the jurisdiction. Okay, so he left around March the 11th, 2018. He got on a plane and he left. And then the extradition order came shortly after that. But there was a fight. Go back and read the story. There was a fight for him to be able to remain here. And the person who was leading that fight and the right to family life was his own wife, who again is a critical member of the Athletic Association. All right. A very, very sad indictment. Now, y'all sitting down? You got your coffee? I saw poor Alejandro said he was going to be rolling something because the coffee wasn't strong enough this morning, or the tea wasn't strong enough. Hear this now. And board members, executive members know this. So this is why when I say the whole lot of them must now go. Johan, there's certain things in Cayman that might be kept a secret from the general public. But when you're in these organizations, people talk and people whisper and people know what's going on. Explain to me, good people of the Cayman Islands, how after all of that happened, you have this man convicted and so forth. How did he end up coaching one of our Caymanian children after he left Cayman in Miami? Jesus, please take the whole island, not just the bus, take the whole island, and you got to explain this one to me. His wife sent him a Cayman athlete from the Cayman Islands to coach after this man has been convicted, after he went and did his little jail sentence. Have it make sense. Y'all understand the egregious nature of what I say is going on? Executive members who are sitting there right now know about this. How was this allowed to happen? Right? a Caymanian athlete, I'm not going to name the individual, was in the United States of America training with Atto Stevens. Y'all think that this situation is a joke? This is no joke, folks. This is very, very serious. These are the things that the people need to be made aware of. Yeah. So when you talk about Mr. Osbert, what his last name is, Francis, and Delroy Murray, y'all believe that they don't know what's going on in that association? They're turning a convenient blind eye to all of it. And so the fair and proper thing to do is wipe the slate clean. In fact, all these trumped up members, the membership roll should be wiped clean too. They all need to go because they are part of the problem. Somebody was asking what church she go to. I don't know which one of them churches, but enough that she could take 3 busloads of people to vote her in. That has got to stop. The Constitution needs to be rewritten where that sort of thing cannot happen. If you're not an active member of an association, you can't just jump up a week before or 2 weeks or a month before an election, go and register, have somebody else who has a interest in the process register you and put you there and then bus you to an actual, meeting so that you can vote them on the executive. None of that should be permitted. That is why we have these abuses occurring. Cydonie knew that he was coaching this young man in 2018. She's well aware. She's visiting him. She's seeing him there coaching. And other people know it as well. All I can tell you is there's nothing about this young lady that should make her stay on this committee. Do y'all remember when she put on the Cayman Invitational? Y'all thought I forgot about that or what? Y'all might have forgotten, but guess what? I have not forgotten. In fact, this happened, I think it only happened once. It was a 2016 Cayman Invitational. Big running event. They brought in Shelly Ann Fraser Price to run the 100 meters. All this big to do. She had another partner, this and that. Ask yourself, whatever happened to the Cayman Invitational? I'll wait for your responses. If y'all have been paying attention, you would know by now that it has not ever happened again because of nothing but another fiasco. They didn't pay the athletes. This was another event organized by none other than Cydonie Mothersill. They never paid the athletes. Y'all don't believe me? Go ask some of these Cayman athletes. They know who they are, right? And on top of it, y'all want the real sus in terms of what really happened? Well, Cydonie had another Caymanian organizing it with her. And apparently, Atto Stevens, being the kind of person that he is, can't be faithful whether the people adults or children. Go ask Cydonie, who did her husband cheat with, who was involved in the Cayman Invitational that broke up that whole little dollar house? Where's my kaboom? Kaboom! You see, these people not got no scruples with nothing. No scruples whatsoever. This is the bad impression that they're giving people of the Cayman Islands. That is why there was never a repeat of that again. Pure shambles. And on top of it, what's your husband busy doing? Helping himself to the little kitties that are your friends involved in planning this Cayman Invitational. Cydonie, I'm going to ask you in all kindness here today to please step down from this organization. And the rest of the board, y'all need to step down with her. You really, really need to. This whole situation now, I want you to put that in context of what she just did to poor little Lacee up and coming. Who is Cydonie Mothersill? What makes this woman think that she has the audacity, the nerve, the balls, whatever you want to call it, to step to a young Lacee Barnes? On what grounds, woman? Look at your own track record. But you know what this is? This is a case of, I can't ever get it right. I can't accomplish anything. So what I will then do is try to hold back as many Caymanians as I possibly can, because I don't want them to ever be successful in life because I've made poor decisions. That's not how this is going to work. And nobody in this country is going to sit back and allow this to continue to happen. Listen to what the Cayman Islands government, when they finally signed the declaration to extradite this man from this country, they said he is an undesirable inhabitant in the territory. Cydonie, you're undesirable too, honey child. Y'all need to do better. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Hi, good morning, Sandy. This is Mita Day.
Good morning, my dear.
Good morning. I'm just calling I wanted to just make this comment after listening to Radio Cayman last night and hearing what was said by the two representatives from CIA, from the Athletic Association, and listening to Lacee after, because I had spoken to Lacee. First things first, I'm not here to bash anyone, but what I was made to understand by Lacee, and I know that child, I know that she would not lie. They said that they were going to be sanctioned because that they had gone past their quota. Lacee read the bylaws, and there was no such quota unless you were staying in the hotel. But you would have to pay a different fee.
Right.
So when you look after it from that point, she was legitimate to be there.
Of course.
The only problem was they didn't want her there. And they just need to come out and say that, own up to that.
Exactly.
So was it because she was going to make him and get in problems? Because other people were there. Devontae Howell's coach was there, not to bring out anybody's name. And he's an amazing athlete. I'm so happy that he ended up representing us.
Yes.
He's good for us. And I mean, it's great to see he beat everybody by so far. But I'm just using that name. And other people had coaches.
Of course. And it's not the first time.
They have coaches there. They went through the same exact process that
That's right.
did.
Absolutely.
Lacee was wrong in the way that they didn't want her there, and she went. But that's a young Caymanian who wants to be there for her people. Can you blame her? It may have been wrong, but can you blame her? Her intent and purpose was
no. But the problem is,
pure.
I want to say too, right? This isn't just about intent. This is about legally, she did nothing wrong. So they should have never handled the situation in this way because she did nothing wrong.
That's my point. And that's my point. And I believe that Lacee acknowledges, yes, she asked them, they said no. She asked again, they said no, and she still went. And that's what she should have done as a young person. Go and find out your rights. She went, she investigated, she found a way to get the credentials. It was done legally. Yes, she was wrong in that CIAA didn't want her there. And that's a shame. That's a shame that they couldn't find a better way to handle this. And let this be clear to the public. I'm in no way condoning that a person goes when someone don't want you there, because I personally wouldn't have gone. But it's Lacee's choice to make a decision to do what she wants to do. And these young people are going to continue to behave that way, and I applaud them.
Yes,
because they must stand up.
If she has a right to be there, she can be there.
And especially when the coaches, when she was requested to assist by Coach Williams, they could have gone to Coach Williams. They could have found Coach Williams. Last night on Radio Cayman, they were saying that they didn't have any way to contact her. I don't agree with that. I personally can't see how the two people that was on radio or anyone else on that association that didn't want Lacee there could have found Coach Williams to say to Coach Williams, or one of the other coaches, Please ask Lacee if she will stop. She was not sanctioned by us to be here. She should not be here.
But they didn't need her. Lacee didn't need them to sanction anything, and I'm gonna get to that. But I appreciate you.
I know,
yes.
but I'm just saying that the way that they dealt with it and what they explained on radio came on last night.
Yeah, they're lying. Like I'm afraid to say.
A way to get to her.
Yes.
I'm just saying that that's not true. They could have found a way to get to her, and they could have handled that. That's what my gripe is here. The way they handled it.
Absolutely.
I'm not condoning that she should have still maybe gone if they didn't want her there. But it's like they have something out for her. So
they definitely do. Yeah.
It's sad. Then it's very sad, and that's what my point is that I want to make.
Thank you.
And the athletes that she was coaching, those parents, that girl parent turned her over to Lacee. So it wasn't like they were poaching on anyone's athlete. So that's what my point is. That Lacee did have a right to be there.
Yes.
You could go there. And we have done that in Cayman when we hosted Carifta, where you allow them to bring as many coaches in. It's just that they pay the difference.
Thank you so much, caller.
In the hotel.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, my love. So 936-2626 is the telephone number. I can assure you, after having spoken to many people involved with past Carifta events, involved with the CIAA, have tons of experience, there was no loophole. One person was listening to the show late last night, and before they even got that far in the show, they heard the one caller. He sounded maybe like he was Bayesian or from the Bahamas or somewhere. They said they heard his comments, and they want to make it very clear. Someone who has a lot of experience with Carifta, they said he got it completely wrong. There's no loophole that Lacee took advantage of. Zero loophole. She was entitled to be there, and she was entitled to apply in the manner in which she did. And as someone else pointed out yesterday, there are, again, I'm going to read this for the benefit of everyone else who may not have heard yesterday's program. This is how it was explained. There's a special rate for accommodations for teams based on size. There is a cap on how much the local organizing committee can charge these countries. Normally, it's around $200 US per night for the accommodations. That's where the ratio comes in. Teams can pay an additional fee if more officials are part of the team. However, since Lacee wasn't part of the team and she paid her own way, that should not have impacted Cayman's ratio, and it did not. And she had a right to be there, and CIAA could not say yay or nay. And I cannot believe that the people in the Bahamas yielded to CIAA and yielded to whether it was Delroy, Cydonie, and what his name is, Oscar, what his name is again, whoever the heck he is. I cannot believe that CIAA yielded to these three individuals and had a young Caymanian removed in such a manner. They are 1,000% wrong. I didn't listen to them last night, but based on what people have said that they said, there's only two possibilities here. Either they are lying, and if we feel generous and we give them the benefit of the doubt, they are so blind and do not understand their own governing rules, how Carifta works and all of that, that they shouldn't be there in any event. So you decide how you're going to see it. On the one hand, they're blatantly lying and being dishonest. I'm going to go with that option, but I'm going to give you option B, that they are so ignorant to how Carifta works that they misunderstood the entire thing and took action that was unwarranted, unnecessary, and in my opinion, completely unlawful. I don't think they're that ignorant. Like, they've been around the block a little bit too long. Like I said, this young lady has been involved herself as both a Carifta athlete, and she's been around the block. She's been there. Diamond Princess is right on point, caller. Why didn't they want her to be there? This is all about retaliation. Because one of the first things that Lacee Barnes did as new president when he was elected was to expulse her husband from CIAA. Now, you know that is bad blood, because this woman writing for this man like he is the King of England. Maybe that's not the best example, but you know what I mean. That he is somebody that is worthy of her loyalty, even above our own children. She has chosen Atto Stevens, and that again is her business. But she cannot choose him and be involved with her youth any longer. That is my personal opinion, and that is where I stand. I don't have a child involved in track and field, but I tell you what, my daughter be running around the backyard on her own chasing iguanas before I would put her under somebody like Cydonie Mothersill. You better believe that that wouldn't be happening. And you parents have got to speak up. Stop whispering amongst yourselves. The time now has come for you to contact said president of CIAA or whatever their new name is and tell them, resign, you gotta go. Even if 50% of what I have said today is true, that is 50% too much. This organization has failed. Huh? It's time for them to go. Good morning, Miss Julie. Miss Julie says, Sandy, thank you for finally giving the voiceless and Cayman a voice. For far too long, we as Caymanians have remained quiet about so many injustices that we've endured as a people simply because we did not have a voice. Now we have a voice in the form of CMR. Thank you. Now more of us as Caymanians need to stand up with you and stick together to get things back on track in this island. Literally on track too. Miss Dean says, I believe Lacee went because of love for country and secondly, her passion. Diamond Princess says the scapegoats went on the radio with lies to cover themselves. We've invited them on here. They've not responded to our requests. They've not responded to our questions that we sent. Nothing as yet because they're a bunch of cowards as far as I'm concerned. So they run to Radio Cayman where they're not going to get no tough questions. They're not going to get people telling them the cold hard truth and saying, why on earth would you treat a young lady like this? Do you know? Let me tell you how duplicitous those people are. And they don't have no backbone when it really comes down to it, yeah? Do you know that yesterday they were scrambling yesterday morning after the show to try to see if they could return to Cayman earlier? I was like, really? They didn't want to come on the same flight when everybody would be there at the airport to see them? Oh, but you have such audacity to treat a young Caymanian with such disrespect. And then you can't fly on the same flight as the athletes because now the proverbial S has hit the fan? And now you're trying to hide out and sneak into the country on an earlier flight? You don't think I know what's going on, or what? People talk. And it's about time people started talking. Sandra says, no prejudice or malice. Cydonie came here when she was 7. She's a status holder. Listen to me. She's a Caymanian. When she's winning gold medal, she's winning it for Cayman. Let's just say she's a Caymanian. I don't care how she get it. She's a Caymanian. And that is even more egregious as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, this country has been good to Cydonie Mothersill. Where else would she be? Right? Who is paying her salary? Who takes care of her if it's not the Cayman Islands government? The Cayman Islands government has bent backwards to make her the hero that she still is in her own mind. And she should be out there uplifting other young people, trying to make them, a success in their own right. That takes away nothing from your success story. To help other people. That is what Caymanians are supposed to be about. That is the very definition and foundation of Caymankind. How can we say such a small island nation where everybody know everybody more or less and whatever, right? And all the countries that were represented at Carifta, we're the one country that is going to have this level of embarrassment and scandal called down on one of our own? A young lady? The whole thing is just bad-mindedness. That's all. They got an axe to grind with Lance and they're taking it out on poor Lacee. And it should never be. Shania says, but the fact that they also asked Lacee and her husband to go and get things for the athletes while they were in the Bahamas says a lot. Obviously, they were needed. They were getting directions from Coach Williams. He was utilizing them. I do not see the issue. Other coaches were there. This is something that has been done before. Lacee did not find any loophole. It's not the first time it's been done. She didn't do anything wrong. And I applaud her because more Caymanian young people need to say, listen, when you request, can I do this? And the person says no explanation, no logic. And then you look at the Constitution, you look at the laws, you look at the rules, and you can't see why they're telling you no. Do not, this is a message to all of our young people, middle-aged people, and old people alike. Do not sit back and allow other people to dictate how high you can go in life because of their bad-mindedness. Because that's all this is. They had no legal grounds, no principled grounds on which to tell her she could not be there. And her identification, her credentials only said Cayman Islands, not because she's part of the national coaching team, but because that is her country of origin. That's why Lacee's, credentials said Cayman. And there was nothing wrong in how she went about getting it. So, don't let other people dictate to you that you're not going to be a coach, that you're not going to be a successful athlete. You're not going to do this. No, they need to step aside. And in life, if you have to circumvent people to get it done, do it. Don't let people stop you. Because there's too many people that have this bad-minded crab in the bucket mentality that is all they're about in life. And they will put obstacle upon obstacle in your way. And trust me, from personal experience, you better get up, dust yourself off, and keep on keeping on. Don't allow anybody to stop your positivity and to stop you from accomplishing what you have to accomplish in life. It becomes too easy for them. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Hello, this is Lacee's dad.
Hello, Lance. Good morning.
Good morning. I told Sandra I want to call in for a second. So
yes, sir.
Okay.
What's on your mind?
Hello?
Yep, you're live and on air.
Oh, hey, Sandra.
That's me. Yeah, you didn't recognize the voice.
And I didn't recognize your voice. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
So I'm at work, but I'm taking my break, so just to make it known.
Yes.
But yesterday when I listened to the interview with Lacee, and when I heard about the situation, I felt hurt, but it really moved me yesterday when Lacee mentioned that her mom was in the stands trying to get her, and she was concerned. Now, before I go into that, I've been in this country now for almost 30 years. A matter of fact, more than 30 years. And everything I have today is because of Cayman. And I owe it all to Cayman. And it's a privilege for me to be here. Now, I taught my daughter to give back to the community. And that's exactly what she was doing. Sandra, my daughter is broken. Broken. I know of young people who have taken their lives. This affected her psychologically and mentally. She's broken. She does not want to go back to the track to train. I literally had to beg her last night to go back. The CAC Games is coming up, Island Games is coming up, and does not want to compete for her country because of these people. Research question is, why did they do that to my daughter? When Lacee was in primary school and high school, she was bullied. And I had to hire counselors, just to get her in the right frame of mind. And she's in that same state again. And these are the people we have who are nurturing and guiding our children. It is not right. I am now on my way. I'm going home. And I told Lacee I'm coming to see her. It has affected my work. Last night when I listened to Osbert and Delroy, and this is what I was president with CIA for 4.5 years. You know what they said? They called Coach Williams to ask who were coaching the athlete, one of the athletes. And he told them Lacee. They could have said right there, let me speak to Lacee. Could you just tell Lacee this? It was a deliberate attempt to embarrass Lacee. When I was president, I heard comments like, why everything is just Lacee, Lacee, Lacee. Oh, Lacee bread is better than both sides. So I know exactly where it's coming from. You know, so it's not a good feeling, and it's not a good feeling for Cayman. And one thing I told her last night, you have to be strong in these moments. You know, and I know she has support, a strong support team around her, but she will bounce back from this. But we should not have people like this in the Cayman Islands leading children and young minds. It is not right. So I just want to add those 2 cents to it.
Yes. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Okay. And please tell Lacee, you know, that the community is standing with her. So she hasn't done anything wrong. I mean, that's the thing I think that people need to understand. You know, a lot of times on this program and, you know, in the news and so forth, we castigate young people when they get it wrong. We can call them up. We can haul them up. No, you can't act like this, your behavior, whatever. But when they have done nothing wrong, I have to stand with them. We have that obligation to be supportive of our young people. So, you know, I want to make it very, very clear. The same energy I can put into calling out, say, for example, a Tiffany Conley, she does something wrong or something. That's the same energy I will use to support Lacee. You understand what I'm saying? The Lacees of the Cayman Islands deserve our support. Our young people are smart. And Lacee found a way around CIAA in their pettiness. And there's nothing wrong with that. She is to be applauded for that, in fact, and recognized for that. So Lacee, I don't know if you are listening to the program this morning. I'm very saddened to hear how this has emotionally impacted you. I mean, I could only imagine, like when she was saying yesterday, you know, how she started to cry. I can only imagine. Let's keep this in perspective here. Lacee's what, in her early 20s? This young lady still has, you know, so much experience that she will gain over the years, right? Y'all remember, some of y'all might not remember, when you were in your early 20s and when things would happen to you, you know, sometimes you would get so upset that all you could do was cry. When people try you, they try to break you. You don't have the experience, you don't have the strength to kind of dig and be like, okay, I'm going to just remain zen. Now look at me, I'm almost 50 and y'all know I ain't crying for no fool. I just be like, let me go into a little meditative state now. I'm going to remain zen and I can call them out where I know it's going to hurt, right? And their bad behavior. But I can only put myself back, you know, when I was in my early 20s, everything used to hurt your feelings then. You know, these older people, they just, oh man, sometimes they are the worst when it comes to holding young people down, and it's wrong. Cydonie, you should be ashamed of yourself. The decision, and all the other members who supported this decision, Mr. Delroy and Mr. I keep getting his name wrong, Osbert, they should all be ashamed of themselves. This should have never, ever happened. It's, and I'm still waiting for the apology. And instead they come and they double down. Somebody said they not believe in them. They think that they're a bunch of liars. Well, it is what it is. Siobhan says they're lying, not giving them the benefit of the doubt. They owe Lacee an apology. And instead of being that big enough to come back and say, you know what, we got it wrong, let's apologize, they're coming down and they are doubling down on this situation and continuing to tell falsehoods. That is just at a different level. And once again, it speaks to the entire committee because you know what? One person has resigned. The rest of you, if you're good, upstanding people, you should all resign at a protest because they can't make quorum. They can't do nothing if you sit there and be part of this foolishness. Stand up, rise up, and resign. You don't need the position. All it's bringing you, committee members, is nothing but a bad name this morning. Do not support this type of behavior. Even if you don't want to make a public statement, like that one person said, he's a private person. He don't like mix-up stories. He wants to remain neutral. You want to be Switzerland? You can still stand up and be counted with your resignation. You don't have to say nothing else. Just resign. Miss Olive, says, Lacee, please be strong, young lady. I pray God's strength. Strengthen her and give her the strength to continue to do what she loves. Daddy, stand up with your daughter. And I'm very, very glad to see that Lance is, going to go see his daughter, because it's times like this that young people need their parents. They need fathers. They need mothers to be able to stand with them. And they need this community to stand with them as well. Ms. Perla says, how heartbreaking this sounds. I hope she can recover and reconsider to continue with this. God be with her. Ms. Darlene says, we love and believe in you, Lacee. Yes, we're going to send her some positivity this morning so that she can know that, like I said, the overwhelming number of people in this community are supportive of you. We're not going to stand with the wrongdoers and allow them to castigate you and make you look like you did something wrong or that you're a bad person when you didn't. First Lady Jayanne says, Lacee, we love you. Don't let them win, girl. Selvin, good morning, Selvin. So standing with Lacee, stay strong, young lady. Wee says, tell her to go ahead and do the thing she loves. Don't make them bad-minded people stop her. She's so blessed. Alejandro, God will always bless you, Sandy, for the tremendous support you have for the Cayman Islands community. Thank you, Alejandro. And now we're supporting Lacee in this moment. Ms. Vernita says, stay strong, Lacee. We got to do a hashtag, stay strong, Lacee, and get that trending. You know what I want everybody to do this morning? Let's send a very clear message of support to Lacee this morning. Go on your social media, right? Google it, find a beautiful picture of Lacee. There's a number of them with her and the flag. I want you for the next 24 hours to simply post her picture on your Facebook profile and say that you are standing with Lacee. Hashtag stand strong, Lacee. Let us show this young lady by resounding and overwhelming support where we stand on this issue. There should be no uncertainty in anybody's mind about where this community stands. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Morning. To the person who says that they want to be neutral, am I incorrect when I think that an act of omission is the same as an act of commission?
It can be.
Well, I think what the person is doing is the person is taking a strong stance to not do anything. That's what the omission is.
Well, let me be clear.
And
that person did resign, but then they don't want to go. They don't want to go any further and actually, say that they're going to.
Right. So the person is saying, I don't want to be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that serves society well. Listen, people who just sit on the sidelines and do nothing because they don't want to take any risk of doing the right things, they are the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm afraid that this is what really got to me yesterday, because this young lady was willing to take risk for what she believed was the right thing to do. And what she did was right. She was looking out for the interest of our people. You know what she was thinking like? She was thinking like a winner. You know what winners do? They overcome challenges. And what were other people trying to do? Keep her down from doing what? From helping other people. How do you suppress the efforts of someone trying to help other people realize their dream? This is amazing, and unfortunately, it's not just in associations. This is throughout society. This attitude exists. I know people who tell me point blank, these are Caymanians, that they hate working under other Caymanians, because when other Caymanians get in position of authority, they do their best to keep other Caymanians down.
Absolutely. Sad but true.
That is so disheartening. It's not. I can't even express it. As much as I disdain the thought of it. But I want to hear the rest of your evidence because I want to understand this issue clearly. So I'll sign off now.
Thank you so much, Denny. Really
Take
appreciate it. I mean, it's just a plethora of. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program. Hello, caller. Can you hear me? Uh-oh. Hello. I don't think that caller could hear me, or I couldn't hear her, I should say. Maybe she could hear me. But yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate because ultimately, it's the whole situation is unbelievable. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I am not one of my best days, I must say.
Oh gosh.
Because the more I listen to this whole saga unfold, the more emotional I'm becoming.
Yes.
But I want to start with one thing. Anyone that thinks that Switzerland is neutral, they can think again, or that they were neutral, because I know what they're referring to. They can think again. And if they go read the history or read the world history, they will know exactly how neutral that Switzerland was. And I say that to say it is not a compliment if someone calls me Switzerland. Okay? I will let that one soak for a minute. I just want to go back to something you said earlier, because I know you said you didn't listen to the thing on Radio Cayman last night. But I did. And I listened to the executives, two members of the executive, and I listened to Lacee. And while I don't claim to be the smartest person in the world, I know that my bulb is on. And I listened to the executives. One of the executives respectfully struggled to answer the questions as to why this was done to Lacee. And what was very repetitive was this quota. Okay? Now, Lacee came on and she was asked about it, and she made it very clear that she had taken the time to read up on, the bylaws and stuff, because every, NPO, whatever, has bylaws. And you have to abide by them. And everything else that she did was correct. Nothing was illegal. Nothing was even in the slightest, based on the Bahamians, done in any way, to embarrass her country, her government, her executives, and so on. And I even heard one of the executives go so far as to say they called the name of a very decorated Bahamian athlete and said that she, like how she swiped up the form and said, "Oh, I got this, I'll take responsibility for this." I would say to them, and I'm no lawyer, be careful, because I'll tell you what, the Bahamas will stand with her. She is one of theirs, and they don't treat their decorated athletes the way Lacee got treated. So just to move back to what I listened to last night. So Lacee came on, and when she was asked the question, she explained that, yes, she understood. They said they had their two coaches. They couldn't afford any more. They had two managers. She said, "I'm not asking you to pay me. I'm not doing this or asking to do it for money. Our accommodation has been taken care of. Our transportation has been taken care of. And unless you know about sports and the way it's all handled under the world bodies and stuff, you have what they call the like in the Olympics, they say the Olympic Village, which is where the athletes stay.
Right.
And so this quota that they're speaking about refers to an allowance given to the officials that you bring, officials falling under the umbrella of, coaches, physio, and so on. So she would not have affected their quota because she was not going to be staying in the athletics or the hotel where the athletes were. I was going to say the Olympic Village, but it's not the Olympics. Anyway, so forgive me if I keep going back to that. But anyway, so that horse has left the gate. Okay. And then she also said that I think she said it was Sunday morning, the Don and Mothersill came and was speaking to Coach Williams and said something to him. She was there. She said nothing to her. And now I'm not saying that she said she was right at his side, but she was in the general vicinity. And she contends that if they had already contacted the Bahamians and said, you have to revoke this accreditation, why couldn't they have said to her, to Coach Williams then, tell her not to go on the track? She's not allowed to go. It has been revoked. And if she insists on going, then they'll have her removed. That could have been done very quietly, whether that was at the hotel or I think it was at a hotel. And she contends that this argument that they insist on using, and I might say it was repetitive, of quota. And I thought this part, was insulting, and for the safety of the athletes. But I'm asking myself, well, was Lacee going to hurt any of these athletes? I mean, come on. I mean, help us out here, and I don't know if Lacee's listening. I don't know if her dad is listening. I don't know if her mom is listening, because I know both her parents. And I want them to know, I can speak for me. Lacee has my support. I am proud of Lacee, and I'm glad her dad brought out something just now. It wasn't in my place to say, but the issue about her at school. I told her yesterday, I followed her. Okay? I know a lot. And I was afraid at that time that she was going to become broken and would have quit. And yes, in life, you don't achieve greatness without pain. She bounced back from that. She is resilient. And she will bounce back from this. But I heard her say something last night that further saddened me. When she was asked, what was she going to be doing next? Would she be representing Cayman in the upcoming games and so on? She said, at this point, I don't know. I don't know if I want to. Okay? And Dion was there saying, oh, no, but we always saw you going to the Olympics. And, she said, not at this time.
Wow.
She said, it's all too raw. And when you hear an athlete say something like that, and that's their passion, you would have to have had some kind of knowledge where an athlete's heart is, pretty much like an artist, to understand how deep that pain is and how deep that wound is. If Liz is listening this morning, I would like to say to her, take all the time you need and please heal. You're not finished. You're barely getting started. And I think that by the outpouring, you've seen, you have the support of your Caymanians. Your dad is one of the few foreigners to come to this island who has admitted that everything he has today is because of Cayman. I can't say I've heard one other person ever say that. They make it sound like they've done us a favor by coming here. And for those who might be very confused, he didn't bring Lacee here with him. She's a product of this soil. Her mother is a Caymanian, a generational Caymanian.
Yes.
And it saddened me further when she said, my mother was in the stands watching this unfold. Sandra, you're a mother, and so am I. Now, can you imagine? And we don't care how old our children grow, they're our children. Can you imagine being in the stands and watching this happen to Gigi?
I tell you what, I would feel very sorry for Cydonie mother still that day.
Well,
no, sir.
Imagine just seeing it happen. You don't know yet.
Yes.
What's happening?
Yes. Oh my God. Trust me.
And another thing I would like to address. I know we don't have soldiers in Cayman, but I know most Caymanians have traveled. And I'm going to leave a question out there to all your listeners. Tell me where in the world, anywhere in the world, you have traveled and you've seen a soldier who's not armed. Who is not armed? Maybe, perhaps, well, even in the UK, because they have a special branch of the police that are armed. I was going to say, except for in the UK, because they believe in the batons, not the guns. Because I can tell you what, everywhere in the world I've gone, they have a sidearm, they have an M16 strapped around them, and for those who don't know, they also have an ankle piece. So if you don't call that being armed, then please tell me what you consider being armed. Because I don't consider carrying a baton being armed.
Thank you very much.
I asked that question for a specific reason. So again, I'd like to say to Lacee, if she's listening, if any of her parents might be listening, Cayman strong.
Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Lacee. You've just gotten started. To give them the satisfaction of taking anything from you.
Yes.
Thank you, Sandra.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I agree. Cayman strong is right. You know, for far too long, folks, we have allowed all sorts of people, our own people I'm talking about as well, and definitely in this situation, to degrade us, to tell us who we are, to, oh, you know, you're too Black, your hair is too nappy, you're too this, you're too that. I think it's high time, folks, that we show our own people what strength we have as individuals and collectively as a country, right? Yes, Cayman strong. Oh my gosh, it's just so unbelievable. And to think that this young lady is now in such a mental state that she doesn't even know, this has thrown her off to the point now where she's like, oh, she doesn't even know if she's going to be, you know, continuing to compete. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Hi, good morning. This is Jalen Linton.
Hi, morning.
So I'm one of the parents that was on the trip supporting my young upcoming star. So I just want to make it clear that, like Lacee, I was one of those youngsters that put blood, sweat, and tear into this three little rocks under this bright sunny. All right, so, but I think that a lot of people are spending a lot of attention on the wrong issues, man. We have a conveyor belt of young superstars coming up. So that's why I put my energy into primary school events. We want to see those stadiums packed and give them the support here. Being in the stands over in Nassau and seeing the kids that never made the Bahamas team in there cheering on and packing those stands, this is where it starts from. I think that we should put a lot more energy into the upcoming athletes, because the athletes that travel to Nassau did very well with the little support that we had. So I think that we should put more emphasis in, and I give Lacee the support because she's been there. she put that blood, sweat, and tear into her nation. So that's why she's so passionate. And I'm not picking any sides. But
yeah,
I think that we should really
I
start
mean
from there.
the thing about it, caller, is you can't plant a good plant in bad soil. Right? So if the association is problematic, even the primary school kids, they will come a point in time when they will be part of this association and they'll be going away representing Cayman. We need to fix this. So we need to put energy into fixing this. And we need to put energy, yes, in supporting our youth programs, supporting them as early as they possibly can get started, elementary school and so on. But we can't continue to ignore the problem that has been the CIAA and expect that anything is going to change.
But I wouldn't put any blame on the association because they are there, and maybe they could have, as a body, they could have managed it within their parameters. But I really think that we should really, as a nation, small in number, but we could get results. You see, we went out there. I don't know if you see that we were 7th place in the medals.
Absolutely.
And we did excellent, but we just need to make sure that us as parents, we're doing good. You have a nice show and everything, but instead of burning data, burn some vacation days. Take your vacation and park those stands in Truman Body. That's where it starts from.
Yeah. Thank you so much, caller.
All right.
Really
Take
appreciate
care.
it.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Alejandro says, I hope Lacee uses this to strengthen her mind, not to give up. She is only winning when she has people stepping in her way. Knock them down, girl. Marshall says, I agree with the last caller. Be strong, Lacee. Cayman strong. Marco says, one of the reasons most athletes in Cayman don't take so much interest in sports is due to the lack of support from the association. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program. Hello? Caller? Can't hear you. I'm not sure what's going on with the phones this morning, but please do call back. We've got about 10 minutes left in the program. Miss Lucille says, Lucille Forbes says, good morning. Sandy, good morning. I'm going to say this was going on in Cayman years ago. I got caught up in it many years ago by one of those coaches, take parents' money, gone shopping and leave the children without good. I have to take them in my room. I rent. He insulted my grandson after I paid for his shirt. Is that shirt from home? I end up having to stay back in Miami to take children home. My grandson was in track and field. I complained, but I got home. The coach came to the house, apologized, but like I said, and then it got cut off. Caller, good morning. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Sandy.
Morning. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. This is Richard Bernard.
Yes, sir.
It really bugs me to hear all of this crap with CIA. I was a member of the executive when we hosted the first Caribbean Games in 1995. I was also the person responsible for transportation. Everything went like clockwork. Under the tutorage and the administration of the president then, which was Evelyn Rocket, you had other people like Lacee Barnes, you had Lisa Bell. Things were run correctly. Why? Because it was run by Caymanians. Today, we do not have Caymanians running the show. So this is what is to be expected. When we go and elevate people from other countries into our country to do our business, what else do we expect? I mean, this is totally, totally ridiculous. And I would call on the Minister for Sports, which I can tell you, he's not going to do anything about it. And I'll tell you why. Delroy Murray is married to his cousin in West Bay. So he ain't going to do shit about it. And that's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think the saddest indictment really is, I mean, there seems to be a lot of people in these associations, and even this one who's like connected to this one. And somebody was saying that, oh, you know, this one's child is a swimmer, and so they're not gonna do nothing. And this one, I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't even, my brain can't even work the logistics of all these connections and why they remain where they are and do absolutely nothing. This person says Cydonie's a bitter hater. She's done. Don't have any more potential aspirations. She's jealous and bitter. Someone says, for sure, Leroy Murray knows the runnings of the committee. It takes a vote to remove her. That's why she got the busloads to vote her in to keep her seat. It's just quite a few people making some comments. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program. Hello? Caller? Hello? Hi.
Yes, hey, good morning.
Morning.
Sandy. So, just off on a little side way, I want to just say this, that again, you know how we all feel about Lacey. Beautiful, beautiful performance that she did with standing up. And I just want to tell parents, when you have especially young ladies, girls, ladies, empower them, give them opportunity to speak their minds. Sometimes we may have some very cheeky ones that will, you know, want to step over the boundaries, but keep on pulling. And it's not going to be perfect, but let me tell you something, that's a perfect example of what Lacey is, of the new generation of Caymanians, especially the young ladies. So don't go back and do like when we were growing up. Oh, be quiet. You're around adults and you're this and you're that, and you know, be what I always used to say, be quiet and look at
Seen and not be heard, or something like that. Yeah.
Yes, that was it. Those are the detrimental things about us. We have to understand that this is a different time. People do not respect like they should, but let our young ladies know, empower them every day. Let them speak as long as they be respectful. We don't have a problem with it.
Exactly.
So kudos again to Molly, and to be honest with you, Molly was a very strong woman coming up to when it comes to that. So nobody never really joke around with Molly. So I think she got a little bit off of the block from her mom. And kudos again to her and her father, who I know for a fact has always supported Lacey. So you know, just keep her, first of all, keep our young people in prayer. These are not the days that we need to fail. We need to pray for them every day, every morning, 3, 4, 5 times a day. Pray for them, pray over them, because this is the only thing that is going to save our people, especially the young ones. Thank you, Sandy.
Thank you, my dear. Really appreciate it. Just a few more comments, folks, as we begin to wrap up today's program. There's a show that comes on after this one now, so we can't go into overtime on the radio, but just a few more quick comments. This person says, ask them why track and field can't grow in such a small community. It's very easy and simple, but they want to favor some people. Explain how the paid national coach wasn't on the trip, which is Mr. Tyrone Yen. They pad it with executives. I believe Bernie used to own or was the founder of Mustang Track Club, which is undoubtedly the bigger track club and has the national coach attached to it, which should never be so. That's why nothing will ever come of it. Oh gosh, they say they've been complaining about this for a long time with this association. No one wasn't listening. Wait until you reach a drama for SIFA women. Oh Lord, have mercy. What a mess. Oy, what a hot mess. Joelle Francis and Osbert Francis are brothers. Joelle works in the ministry. Oh Lord, have mercy. It's just like I said, nepotism all over Cayman, honey child. Christopher says that Lance and Molly did a great job raising Lacey. She's a great young lady and one that is passionate about the sport and her country. I'm very disappointed in how the association handled the situation. Be strong, Lacey, and know that when you are on the way to greatness, you face obstacles that slow you down. Keep pushing through. And that's always so true. That is so true. And please do not allow anyone to stop you when you are, again, you know, doing the right thing. Shania says, when young Caymanians stand up for what they believe in, the older generation feels threatened and silences us. They can try, but you don't allow them to. Natasha, good morning. Says, Lacey, the best revenge is to succeed in the face of your detractors. Train, coach, compete, and win. Miss Morna says, Lacey, God be with you. Who can stand against you? Stand strong and stand tall. Damaris says, Lacey's my niece, and she is a strong young woman. I'll call you later. All right, Auntie. Darlene says, that's the problem with us. We have such a bad mind. Lots of bad-mindedness around the place, I must tell you. All right. Thank you guys so much. Alejandro says, because the wrong people are in power, they have to plan for their people. They have to, wait a minute. Because the wrong people in power and they don't have a plan for their people on our island. People paying for campaigns. Miss Sarah, good morning to you. Say in the house. Says, pray without ceasing. Remember, the March for Jesus is May the 24th, 2023. Child, look like we're going to have to add on a march for young people on there as well. Ken Roy says, why didn't they go to the young lady and talk to her? It's not where you're from. It's what is in you that will come out. Self. Why wasn't it addressed when they get back home? But no hype is the name of the game. Yeah, they just completely handle it wrong. All right, beautiful people, stay tuned. Miss Marva says the truth is coming out. What a disgrace for a country. Stay tuned for our daily buzz, and we will be back tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. We've got some special guests in the studio tomorrow, so make sure you tune in nice and early.
Hello, I'm Kevin Watler, and this is your CMR Daily Buzz. Here's a summary of some of Cayman's latest headlines. A new application form is being introduced by the Department of Environmental Health to improve the planning of inspections and assessments of tourist establishments and their respective swimming pools for their recommendations for licensing by the Department of Tourism. The Royal Cayman Islands Police Service have reported that over the Easter weekend, there were no major incidents of violent crime and no major traffic collisions. There were also no reports of trespass or theft related to persons camping over the weekend. Jillian Crook set a new Crifter Games record on Sunday, swimming 26.08 seconds to win the 50-meter freestyle sprint finals at the Swimming Championships in Curacao. This is the fastest time swam over the distance in the history of the championships. Now for your CMR weather update. It's brought to you by WG Charters. Sunrise at 6:10. A few clouds from time to time, when the temperature's at 83 degrees Fahrenheit and humidity at 64% like the forecast calls for. It will feel like it's in the high 80s. Winds light and variable, and the sun sets at 6:42. At nighttime, the temperature falls to the mid-70s. Looking forward, similar weather conditions are expected. If you would like to know more on any of these stories, visit CaymanMallRoad.com or follow Cayman Mall Road on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. That's it for now on the Daily Buzz. Thank you for joining me. Please stay safe, and God bless.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels. And visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.